morning! I hope everyone is having a good morning. Welcome on in. We're going to be doing some more cosplay stuff today. Julie, good morning. I hope you're doing good. Let me just switch over to Facecam. There we go. Hello, I hope you're doing well today. We are taking a break on the VTuber stuff and doing some more cosplay. I do actually also have an idea for a cosplay that I would kind of just like to make as like a, what do you call it? Like a breather, like a bit of an easier project just for a bit to work alongside with this one, because you know this costume's going to take like over a year to make, so it's like quite daunting just starting it out this month or last month. So I thought it'd be kind of nice to do a kind of in between cosplay, so we'll probably do that soon as well. Yay, good morning, thank you for the horn. I hope you're doing well. Welcome on in. Oh dear, just talking about stuff I want to do. I won't be starting it just now because we'll be taking a week break next week, hopefully, if everything goes all right. We'll be taking a week break next week where I'm having a little holiday with my family. But yeah, dear Kurix, good morning. I hope you're doing well. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, we've got crafts to do. We got crafts. I have been working on some smocking. I haven't done too much else since we stopped on Sunday, which was a very short stream, to be fair. So not too much has changed, so I'm just like grabbing it because it's underneath all of the embroidery thread, because I was like, I'll get that out early. Did somebody say holiday? Yeah, hopefully. It's a bit up in the air, but we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Someone in another household in our family who was meant to be going has unfortunately got COVID. So we're kind of just like waiting to see what happens with that, because yeah, they're kind of the people that have the accommodation. So it's like, oh dear. And then simultaneously we've had another family member get quite sick. Not with COVID, but they are also very, like, they are in a hospital. So we're just waiting to see what happens. This all happened in like 24 hours. I honestly think it was my fault. I was talking about it on Sunday where I was like, oh, I'm so excited for the holiday, it's going to be amazing. And then everything that could have happened to stop it started happening. So fingers crossed though. If not, we'll just take it like a little bit later in the year and do it again, I'm sure. So it won't be the end of the world. And it's family, so it's not like I'm never going to see them. Oh dear, sorry to hear it. It is what it is. A whole week with family, at least. At least I'll have to stream after again. Yeah, I mean, I love streaming. I'll look forward to it. I've had a few people getting COVID this week. COVID, yeah. I think, I don't know how long COVID immunity lasts. I had it a few months ago, so I'm hoping that, well, also I don't leave the house. So I should be fine. I can't imagine me getting COVID before going, but I am also the person in my family who's had it the most recently. I think everyone else has been like over a year. Yeah. It lasts about a year, I think, but I could be wrong. It's weird, isn't it? Because like certain things like give you like a whole year's immunity, and then some give you like a week, and then it's like you can catch it again. Which I think is very cruel. I don't like, that's mean. You should get at least a little bit of immunity for a while. So I think I should be okay. But for most people, I think, yeah, it would have been about a year ago, I think, that, or maybe just less than a year ago, that they last caught it. So yeah, but it doesn't seem like they're too bad this time. It's weird as well, because like sometimes people get COVID and they're like I've had it 3 times. The first 2 times I barely even noticed. Like I would have assumed, had it been at a different time of year, that it was like hay fever or something, like it was so mild. Whereas you guys all saw what happened last time I had COVID. I was out for 4 weeks. I was so ill. I've had to go to the doctors multiple times to get it sorted afterwards, and even now, like I have never fully recovered from it, and it's crazy. It can hit you so hard or not at all. But thankfully they seem to be pretty mild, so like just having like a cold kind of thing. Ah dear. Or just have a party in the hospital. Depends on the department, of course, but hospital employees used to seem like that stuff. Well, but that's a thing, like we have family in hospital, but most of my family can't go visit them because they live in a household where they've got COVID. So it's like, I think only 2 people have been able to go, and I can't get there because they're about 6 hours away from me, so someone would have to help me. Oh dear. I think that I'm hopeful. D. Oh dear. Honestly, I don't think D, I think F. I think F's appropriate. D. No, D, F. Oh dear. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm still hoping. I mean, listen, if I don't go on holiday next week, it means you don't get rid of me for a week. But hopefully it should be fine. We're all trying to like think positive. If everyone's symptoms are mild, they should all hopefully be testing negative in a few days. Fingers crossed. And then hopefully everyone, the other people that got sick are okay and can come out of hospital. Oh my god. So much in it. I swear. What is it? Like, it's the bad thing comes in groups, right? So when one bad thing happens, everything happens. Oh dear. D's nuts. You meant to say like something with the D's. Listen, I am a D's nuts connoisseur. Okay, that is weak critics. Weak. You meant to say something that catches me off guard, not just D. Oh dear, honestly. Youth these days. I need to book a holiday, still haven't yet. Heck yeah! When it rains, it pours. That's what I'm thinking. Welcome on in, Lee. I hope you're doing well. Welcome. Dear, you're a connoisseur of these nuts? I am. I'm a connoisseur of these nuts. Yes, Shifty, yes. Impact, good morning. I hope you're doing well. Welcome. Do you guys want to actually see the smocking we've been working on? It's starting to get very, very pretty. You've got some of the sequins in like the top half. I still need to do the rest of it. Where is my screen? There it is. Look how pretty it's looking. I wish I could have my camera a little bit more. Oh, okay, that seems okay. Yeah, that's looking so good. I love it. I think it looks really cool. Oh, you did? How are you feeling, Lee? Are you doing okay? Has there been any complications? I hope you're doing fine. I hope you. I'll be honest. I don't know if I mentioned this. I think I probably didn't, but I think the worst day is probably, in my opinion, for the pain, is like day 4 or 5. Which, if you had it a week ago, hopefully you're past the most painful bit now. Nobody tells you that it gets most painful, like 5 days in. You start off fine and then suddenly it just amps up. Oh dear. So hopefully you've got past the most painful bit if it's been a week. Oh dear. Ooh. Right, let's just set up and start going. Let's go. I want to see the sequins going the whole way down this thing. I want to get a cute picture with it next to the the other color. Like, I want to get a picture of them both together with their little stars in them and stuff like that. I want to get that. Heck yeah. Also, camera update. Should hopefully have a new camera after we're back from holiday. I know I have the money for it. Very kindly thank you to the people who donated and also took commissions from me. So I can replace my camera because I'm using currently like my face cam, which has autofocus and you cannot turn it off, and also auto flips and you cannot turn it off. Would you rather I have had a ride on these nuts? I think that's more. I still think that's better. Yes. Because like yeah, it's better. I think the scabs are starting to come off, so it's a bit raw. Yeah, it's the bit where you start healing that it really hurts. And nobody tells you it in the hospital, but if you look online and speak to other people that have had it, it's like, yeah, day 5 sucks. It starts off kind of okay and then it just gets worse. Most people will switch to less heavy painkillers. Technically, you've already been through the worst, but it might. Oh, I see. I don't think that's the case though, because obviously I'm a bit of a special case. I had like 2 or 3 infections. I was like straight afterwards. I was very, very ill when I had my tonsillectomy. I was like exactly what you don't want to happen when someone has a tonsillectomy. It was pretty bad. So I had to go on and off strong painkillers. But like, I still found day 5 the worst. And then like every time they started healing, that's when it felt worse. And I was on morphine for quite a long time. I was on pretty intense painkillers for like a long time, and still those days felt so much worse. I think it is just something to do with the healing. Oh dear. But then again, I must say I didn't have necessarily the average experience because I was like, having to go back to the hospital and doctors and stuff a lot. So I don't know. Wait, but if you don't go on holiday, does it mean you never get... Oh, shoot! I didn't... Oh no! We'll just have to hope that we can go on holiday. Sonny, hello, good morning. I hope you're doing well. We're doing some more sequin sewing right now. I hope you're having a good week so far. Oh dear. Welcome, welcome. Oh dear. Oh, yes, I should be able to get a new camera in a few weeks. That's the camera stuff. The monitor, I think I'll probably be doing the same thing with. It's just because at the moment the delivery on all of them would come right when we might be out of the house, and it's like I don't want to order something to the house if they can't deliver it. So hopefully we can get a monitor afterwards. It'll probably be like, I'll be honest, a couple weeks after I get back, just because again the delivery times. But we'll get it. It'll be on the way at least. It'll be on the way, and it'll make things like art streams much easier because right now I have. The setup that I'm using to stream anything that isn't crafting is very janky because it's all on one monitor. And so like I have my Photoshop, I had it like windowed. So like whenever I've been using Photoshop on stream, it's really small for me so that I can have chat behind it because I need chat quite big to read it. And oh my god, it's been a janky time. Obviously, like off stream, I'm fine. Like all the drawing is okay. It's only while I'm live that it's like been a little bit difficult. And games have been tricky. Oh, there's somne nyahlo, somne. Oh dear, you dreamt about us. Did we do good things? Did we die? I need to know. Ah dear. I had a dream recently that chicken became poisonous to humans, but like humans didn't know about it yet. And so like all the humans were eating like KFC and like cooked chicken and then getting really, really sick. And like nobody could understand why. And then it turned out that we were just, all humanity was like allergic to chickens now. And so no one could eat chicken. I don't know what it meant, but that was a dream that I had recently. Oh dear. If you order online, you should be able to see the expected delivery time. Yeah, so I can, and it's like, it's between, at the moment, I think it was like the 25th and a week after the 25th, but I might be away on the 25th. So, yeah, it gives you like a time frame. I don't think it's a full week, actually. I think it's like a few days afterwards. So yeah, I just want to make sure those time periods are after we get back. Yes. Oh dear. That's okay though. I mean, we work through it. We've been managing. I imagine the camera's a bit funky, but we've been managing. Oh dear, I think Jelly had banned me, but you felt really bad about it, and I was like, no, it's fine. I was thinking, oh no, what did you do? Wait, I wish I knew what you did. Heck. Oh, I'd be dead. Yeah, if chicken became poisonous. You have weird genes. I don't know. They probably mean something. You know, people get very knowledgeable about what dreams mean, right? What does my chicken dream mean? What does my dream about all chicken becoming poisonous mean? I need to know. Oh dear. If chicken were poison, I would be so dead. Well, yeah, especially because like nobody knew about it. So like it was like I remember watching like the news in my dream. Oh, I guess kind of I was probably there, but like I was watching the news. I was watching the news people report on it, and they were like, yeah, we can't quite work out what's going on, but it seems to be there's a correlation with the chickens. Like every time someone gets sick, they've like eaten KFC or something, and I was like, oh no, it's the chickens. Oh dear. Same, I forgot. Oh no. But to be fair, I forgot a lot of stuff about my dreams. Like, I don't remember if we ever got out of the chicken scenario. Like, I don't know how that happened. Oh, there goes. A glitchy camera. Oh dear. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I have a lot of dreams. I dream nearly every single night. But most of them, they're like not really worth writing home about. They're just like kind of boring. I have a lot of dreams of like, I got up, I did things, and then I wake up again and I'm like, so like they're not super exciting. It's just I get confused first thing in the morning because like I wake up thinking I've done things and then I'm like back in bed suddenly and I'm like, wait, what's going on? How have I not been productive yet? I eat chicken for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You eat chicken for breakfast? Ooh. Oh dear. I also woke up forgetting. Oh no. Oh dear. That being said, I feel like that's. Maybe other people can confirm or deny. Do other people forget that they have tattoos? Because like I always forget. Like unless I'm like looking at it, I just forget that they're there. Because you get so used to seeing them, I suppose. Yeah, I always forget that I have tattoos. This just dinner, but I have chicken with breakfast. Fair. Yeah, there we go. Oh dear. I don't think I've had chicken. Well, then I don't eat a whole lot of meat though, to be fair. So I guess it makes sense that I might not have had chicken for breakfast. Yeah, I don't think that I have. But I listen, I could be wrong. I was a child for a while. I don't remember stuff from back then. So there's a chance it could have happened when I was a child. Oh dear, are you married? The phrasing! God, welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. Am I married at all? Not yet. I really like the phrasing of it though, where it's like, you know, it could be a small percentage. Only, yeah, slightly married. Like, you know, I've been considering it. I've been upping my marriage intake a little bit, you know? Just a tiny bit. Yeah. Oh dear. It's very British phrasing, I like it. It's like when you say something that doesn't come in like a quantity, but you say it like that for politeness. I like it. Oh dear. Sonny, like, whose arm did I steal during my sleep? Yeah, Sonny, whose arm have you been stealing, huh? I mean, I have a bruise that's a week old, and I keep seeing it freaking out. That's a long bruise. Oh my god. Heck. I hope wherever is bruised is okay. Jeez. Oh dear. What do you do, like hit a table or something? I feel like most of my bruises, I get them on like my upper thighs, and they're from like me just walking into tables and boxes and stuff. I don't know, I must walk into them at some significant force because like I have a lot of bruises on my thighs from just walking into things. Oh dear. Sonic stealing arms, like, yeah, like a Resident Evil villain. Yeah, you got banned for stealing arms? I could believe that. Oh dear, it's my arm where they tried to start my IV. Oh, yeah, actually that would leave, they do leave a bit of a mark. It doesn't help as well, I don't know. Again, I don't know if they do the same thing with you, but like my experience with those kind of needles is they always put like they do a test injection of like water. So like, or I don't know if it's water, but it's like some kind of like not medicine fluid, just to test if they've got the right place. And if it's wrong, you just end up with this bubble under your hand. And when you have the bubble, that bruises really badly. Your skin does not like it when that happens. Oh dear. It also makes me viscerally uncomfortable. Every time it's happened when I've looked at it, I've been like, oh dear. A week for a good bruise, isn't it? Is it not? Oh dear. Maybe I just don't look. I should monitor my bruises more. You know, time goes by and I just don't notice. Oh, they had to use an ultramus. Oh god. Are we both floppy vein people? Welcome to the floppy vein gang, where no one can ever, like, they look really obvious, but then people go for them and they're like, yeah.
British doctors inject water on a Tuesday.
Water on a Tuesday? British doctors. You know, so for those who don't know, I've been practicing my editing skills. I've been editing clips on the channel and uploading them to a clips channel, just for like fun and like practice mainly. The main comment I get on my clips is British lol in it. Still, whenever anyone comments on my videos, it's just British in it Tuesday, bottle of water lol. It's like, oh god. You know, I didn't think that I sounded that stereotypical. I know that I have a relatively stereotypical accent, but like I didn't think it was that invasive. But like every time, like not every time, but like a lot of the comments are just although I will say, I did get, okay, I don't want anyone to worry that I'm upset or anything. Just be very clear, I am not upset. I had the most viscerally angry person comment on one of my things recently, and it was so funny. It was just me like having a joke with chat and stuff, and I made a clip of it, right? And someone commented like, fucking B and G tube is disgusting. This world needs to burn. It's like, oh my god. I was absolutely dying. It's like, why are they so angry? Oh my god. 10 out of 10 would post again. Oh my god. Don't take it personally, Jelly. Check it up. Thing is, I really want to try eel, but definitely not jellied eel. I want to have like proper eel. Yeah. I want to try it. It seems really nice. Looks very meaty. Excuse me. The bruise I had in my groin area from my heart, over 2 to 3. But then again, I guess I'm not really too surprised about that, Zay, because that's like quite major. I could see that. Yikes, I know. Proper eel. Proper eel. I want proper eel. I mean, this one does need to burn, but I feel like it's not because of... Well, actually, they called me a PNG tuber as well, which I think was meant to be an insult, but I like PNG tubers. I think that, you know, I think it was just... I don't know. It's funny, though, because, like, if they're enough into the the VTuber world to know what a PNG tuber is, why am I the one that makes you want to think the world burns? I'm pretty mild. Oh dear. Wasn't anything too severe, but due to an operation where they entered a vein, it's like, yeah. Like, it makes sense. I feel like post-op ones are always a bit blah, 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 blah. Do you know life of a true British streamer? Rev up the Bugatti. Wait. Although, you know what? I do eat Toby carvery, and I do like it. So, you know. It's good. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's a good value for money carvery, and there's no washing up. Like, it's pretty good. It's got added on a Twitter group for Bitcoin giveaways. Oh, literally every single day. I have to continuously remove myself from those communities. It's happened on Instagram as well, where like I get like basically the same message on Twitter, except it doesn't really work on Instagram because I don't think they have like the groups. But like you still get the same message. It is bots, man, bots. I've never been to a Toby carvery, so I don't know. Like, it's not gonna be like a 5-star chef carvery, but if you're looking for a carvery for under a tenner with like no washing up and like a good choice of meats and veggies, it's a really good option. Yeah, they're just very easy. Oh dear. Like it. Gotta love Elon's takeover. Love it. 10 out of 10. Oh dear. Oh, hands! I see hands! Yeah! This is like how we do crafting streams here. You still have the VTuber and stuff, and we still talk about the same sort of stuff. It's just like I'm making crafts in the background, and I enjoy it, and I get lots of stuff done. Well, maybe not as much as if I wasn't streaming, but I feel happy at the end of it, which, you know, that means like I'll forsake some productivity for the fun conversations. Carvery, yeah. So like it's like a buffet with like. So it's a buffet style, but all hot food. So it's like you'll have like a roast beef, roast chicken, roast turkey. You have normally pork with crackling and maybe lamb. And you say what meat. Oh, and gammon. Yeah, gammon. So you basically say what meats that you want. There is vegetarian options at Toby Carvery now as well. But you say what meats you want, and they put them on the plate for you, and then you go across to where all the veggies are, and you serve yourself your veggies and any sides and gravies and all that kind of stuff and sauces. And then you go eat it, and it's, you know, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. One thing I will say about Toby is they actually cook their vegetables all right, at least the ones near us do, so you don't get like overcooked veg. Some Tobys can be a bit overcooked because they're cooking for mass, but the one near us is actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. Ah, dear. There we are. Another one. Another one. Turn that over and do this. But who is Toby? Good question. Who is Toby? I've never met them myself. Hands are 2023's feet. Yeah, they are, especially if you go to Vile stream. You're not wrong. Oh dear. Eddie, welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. I am none of those things, but I appreciate it. Oh dear. I am a simple bean. A simple bean. Living a simple life. Oh, that's me. Oh, bless you. It's very kind of you. How are you doing? We're talking about Toby Carvery. I don't know if you have an experience with Toby Carvery. I don't know if you want to have an experience with Toby Carvery. I like it though. I think it's great. Like, nice, easy meal. Yeah, it's pretty social because it kind of, even though it's like a food place, it very much feels like a pub. Like, the vibe of Toby Carvery's is very like traditional British pub, except that you can eat a full carvery there. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Connie Lotto, good morning. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. We're getting more sequins sewn in, and we're talking about Toby Carvery, and I want to meet... Has nobody else in this chat ever had a Toby Carvery? Is it literally just me? I swear to God. I never want to experience... Oh, we will take you out to a Toby Carvery. When we have a car one day, we will come to your house, Shifty, and we'll be like, it's time, Shifty. We've revved up the Bugatti. Specifically for this. You're coming with us to a Toby Carvery. Oh, dear. I'm doing okay, I guess. I don't think there is one where I am. No! Okay. To be fair, I've lived in places which aren't too close to a Toby either. Growing up, we had a couple near us, and like I've got one near me now, which is nice. But it does depend. Like, they're not like Greg's, are they? They're a bit different. There's one near me. I don't know if the one near you. I've not probably been to the one near you though. So what if I don't know that it's good or not? Whereas the one near us, I can be like, it's alright. It's carvery time. It's carvery time. Welcome on in. How are you doing? How are you doing? How goes it? I have a feeling you might not have been to a Toby Carvery, but I'm happy to be proved wrong if you have. I'm pretty sure Toby Carvery is only in the UK, right? Apparently this one near me is really bad. Okay, in that case, we'll go all the way over to you with our Bugatti way, and then take you all the way back to the good one. Oh dear. You know, maybe this is maybe not like the biggest thing, but I will say the Greg's near us is also really good. We got a good Greg's. I mean, technically we have like 5 Greg's, but the Greg's that we go to near us is really good. Big fan of that Greg. Very good. What's with all of these food chains just like with just random people names like, you know Toby? You know Greg? Those are our restaurant chains here in the UK. You know, other places call them like, you know, recognizable names, but here we're like, Greg? This is Toby. Oh dear. Heck yeah. I spent an hour looking through phone books trying to find them. Oh my god, trying to find Toby? Heck! Did you find them? Did you ever find them? I'm doing alright. How are you? Oh, alright, thank you. We've had a bit of a busy 24 hours trying to get things organized because we've got a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. But myself, I'm pretty alright. The headhunter Gregory. Oh yes. That's the big Greg's. It's Gregory. Oh dear. MacDonald, probably. You know what? True, actually. MacDonald. Where does... I can't remember, but probably someone in chat knows. What country does McDonald's originate from? Where did McDonald's start? Because actually, yeah, that does sound weirdly British, but maybe it's not. It is America. Okay. Well, I guess there's a lot of people that would have come from Britland and America as well. We have like their surnames and stuff. Oh dear, it is US. Okay. I wondered. Oh dear, in the 1950s. Oh, you know, okay, so actually not that long ago. Relatively new chain. Heck. Oh dear, Britland. Yeah, Britland. There we go. The original owners had the last name McDonald's or MacDonald. Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you also, I guess, in America have Wendy's. Wendy is a name. What else? Probably not KFC. That feels like maybe that's not someone's name. What else? What other restaurants? Taco Bell, probably not. Oh dear. Wendy's nuts. Hey, there we go. That's a good one. Thank you. Carl, yeah, Carl, that's a person name. Carl Jr. What does Carl Jr. do? Because I don't think I'm very familiar with them. I've heard of them before, but not very much. Oh dear. What does Carl do? What is Carl's cuisine of choice? My name is John Taco Bell. What a impressive name. Tacovian Bellagio. Oh, I you know, listen, if that's true, that would make me very happy. The most intense thing. It's subpar burgers and stuff. Oh, okay, burgers. Another burger joint. Gotcha. And we have Burger King, which could be someone's name. It feels more like a title though. And then we've got, yeah, McDonald's, KFC, Subway. I don't feel like that's probably someone's name. Oh, dude. Like the opening to... Yeah, the opening to a show in an anime. Yeah. Hardee's... Is this another Hardee's nuts? I don't know that I know them, though. Long John's... Wait, I don't know any of these. Arby's I've heard of. I've heard of Arby's. And Dunkin' Donuts. Krispy Kreme. Oh dear, I haven't had Krispy Kreme donuts in so long. They're kind of expensive and I don't live anywhere near Krispy Kreme, which is probably why. But damn, I did used to like their donuts. Then again, I had them for the first time when I was like 20. I had never had them before because growing up we just did not have one near us at all. So it wasn't until I left home that I ever had like a shop brought donut like that. Lee's chicken. Well, Lee is a name. There you go, there's one. Was a fun part of Devilish Man to go to luxury dinner restaurant and turn it out to be a Taco Bell, the only chain that survived the restaurant wars. God. Bojangles feels like kind of a name. Yeah, that's the Eoden. Greetings. Reject the flesh fruiters, but not a freaking vessel. Welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. We had sparkles. More sparkles. Oh, I was going to send you a picture this morning. My bad. 2 seconds. I can probably do that now. Sorry. Lag spike. I'm opening Photoshop. Get prepared. The Pizza the Hut. I don't like Pizza Hut. Also, it probably doesn't help that the only experiences I have with Pizza Hut are when they had the Cat in the Hat promotion, which kind of made me feel uncomfortable. There was that, and then the Pizza Huts near us all had a 1-star hygiene rating, so I just was like, yeah, you know what? Nah. So I've not ever really been that keen on it because, like, yeah, it's always just made me think of either Cat in the Hat, like the live action Cat in the Hat, I should say, or yeah, what do you call it? Low food ratings. There we go. I'll send you a that. Oh, that's my ducks. That's my ducks. We don't need the ducks right now. No. Oh, have I been tagged in something or is it an announcement? Oh, I might have been tagged. Oh god. Oh dear. Wait, was I tagged in something? How do you tell if you've been tagged in something? Oh dear. Oh no, I feel really bad. I think someone's tagged me in a server and I can't see it. And oh no, they're gonna think I'm ignoring them. I'm not. I promise I'm not. I'm just. Okay. I will say it's fine. I've got very sidetracked. Ah, dear. Okay. I'll try and fix that after stream. Oh dear. Where was the one I wanted to send you? 6, there you go. Okay. Gotcha, right. And now I can close Photoshop. There you go. Cool, okay. Lag over. Hygiene, what is that? I don't know. And yeah, I'm gonna tag you in something and it's no. I'm really bad because like, so I have got, I think all but at the moment, maybe 2 Discord communities muted because they were going off so much and I was like I was getting a bit overwhelmed with all the pinging noises because it was like, oh my god, this is a little bit much. Every time like I log in I'm just like ping, oh my god, can't handle that. So I have most of them muted and then I just check them, right? But it does sometimes mean if someone's tagged me I don't see it for a while. Oh dear. I can't decide if I want to lay back down or get up and try and sew. Could you take sewing to the bed with you? And maybe just like, because that way if you start to feel a bit tired or unwell, you can just put it to one side and relax a bit more. Matthew, how's implosion going? It's all right. I'm enjoying my implosion. You know, it is part of the British growth, is at some point you probably will implode. It's happening. Relatable, yeah. I've just had to mute most of them. Also because a lot of the Discord servers I'm in do like watch-alongs, which means they, you know, when they start the watch-along, people are pinging like every few seconds. And I love these people, but I can't. It gets me very, very distracted. Oh dear. That would be a good sound alert to add that would make me incredibly stressed out, is adding a sound alert for the Discord ping noise. I think I need panicking every single stream. Oh dear. There we go. I fall asleep and stab. Oh really? Okay. Maybe don't do that then. Oh dear. I think when I had mine out, I literally just lay in bed for about 3 weeks, but then I was also like coughing up like blood constantly. I was really sick. I couldn't move. I actually, that was when, so I had my laptop at the end of my bed and I kept like buzzing in and out of like being awake or not. So I was not consistently like watching stuff. And at some point I actually, so I had my classical guitars on display at the time, and I actually kicked my laptop into my current concert guitar when I fell asleep. And I cried about it for like 4 days. It was fine. I had other guitars, and I had more expensive guitars as well, but there was just something very upsetting about it. Why don't fall asleep, slap yourself in the eye? But they're recovering from surgery right now, so I guess they're more likely to, well, yeah, you're more likely to like doze off and stuff if you're recovering. It happens. Coughing up blood. Yeah, it's relatively common with tonsils out. If you get an infection, it's like one of the big signs, other than the pain, is like you'll have like a lot of blood. Dennis! Welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. We're doing some sequins. Obviously, if that happens, you go straight to the doctors, because you probably need to be on some antibiotics or something, though, which is exactly what I did. Went to the doctors, who sorted me out and gave me a lot more painkillers, and yeah. Every time. But so with your tonsils out, there's no stitches or anything. They cut them out and it's just a hole in your throat. Like they don't, how to put it, I don't know exactly what it was, and things might have changed. It's been a while since I had mine out, but like when I had mine out, they just cut them out and that's that, which means that yeah, it can be quite a nasty healing process, obviously, because it's in your throat as well. They cauterize them. Okay, there you go. But it means that, like, yeah, your throat gets a lot of use, in everything, like in eating and drinking and all that kind of stuff. So it's really easy to cause problems. And one of the things that they tell you to do a lot when you're recovering is to keep eating, because it helps scrape infection off, and it helps scrape anything off that's like gunk that might be going on the wounds. So they want you to keep eating, and they want you to eat like rough foods like toast and stuff like that. It's a really nasty surgery. I think just because it's a common surgery and like a lot of people have it, some people, it's easy to forget that it's like a really nasty one. The healing process is awful. Again, I had like a very bad experience, so like most people it won't be quite so bad, but it's like, yeah, it's pretty nasty. I swear they're paid. Yeah, they're like, eat rough foods. Don't just eat jelly and soft things. Eat like toast and like cornflakes and stuff like that, to try to scrape anything off that might like be growing on there. Yeah, because it's the best way of avoiding getting an infection. Obviously there are some people, so for me, I'm very, very prone to infection. We knew that I was going to get infections, and like it was not an ideal surgery for me, for sure, especially at the time, because at the time I think I was even worse. But yeah. Then again, I guess no surgery is ever ideal. Would be nice to never have surgeries, right? So not the attitude. Also, Andrew, good morning. I hope you're doing well. Can't have your tonsils removed live on stream, probably. Well, you're asleep doing it, right? And also, yeah, like it depends why you're having them removed. You wouldn't have wanted to see mine, because mine had ruptured. So like, that would have been gross. Nobody wants to see that. Well, actually, no, somebody probably. There's always someone who does want to see that. That being said, I do think it's really, really cool when people live stream their brain surgery, because that is one you can live stream, isn't it? Because like you're awake doing it, because you have to be awake, because of like them touching your nerves and stuff to make sure that they haven't done anything or touched anything bad, or I don't exactly know. I am not a doctor, but I know that for like a lot of brain surgery you have to be awake. And they just like, obviously you pain meds and stuff, sedation probably, but yeah, you have to be awake for your reflexes and stuff. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I know that people have live streamed their brain surgery before, and it's like, that's listen, if I ever get, I'm not expecting to get brain surgery anytime soon, and I hope that I never do. But if I ever do, I'll live stream it for you guys. I'll do it. You can see. The thing is as well, I'd probably also just be live streaming it for me, because I also want to see. And I bet while you're having it done, you don't get a very good view. So yeah, I want to see what my brain looks like. I'm curious. I had my tonsil removed as a child, and somehow I got tonsil infection 30 years later, and I was like, what did I... Yeah, this is the thing. You can still get tonsillitis, which... crazy to me, but you can still get tonsillitis even after you've had your tonsils removed. Yeah, you're less likely to get it, I think, but you can still get it. My parents paid, but still, yeah. You can't be asleep in brain surgery, so they monitor. Yeah, it's something like that. I don't, obviously not a doctor. I don't know the exact science as to why, but I know that people do live stream that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'd live stream it for me. I want to see what's happening. Maybe not if it's like a very dangerous surgery or like very major, but if it was just like a minor exploratory thing, yeah, like for sure. I'd be like, hell yeah, I wanna see what it looks like. Listen, I'm curious. I wanna know. Oh dear. It must be a weird feeling though, because like I guess if they're touching different bits of the brain, it could make like your reflexes and stuff work. I guess it'd be like hitting like every reflex point on your body at once. Ugh, must feel very weird. Oh dear. I want to see my brain. Want to find out how they fit such a big brain in such a small head. Oh dear. Yeah. Some, you know, we all want to know that. Sucks though. It's like my body waiting 30 years to troll me. I mean, it's probably better though than having like constant tonsillitis, right? Because like most of the time, maybe things have changed, but I think most of the time these days, at least in the UK, they don't like taking your tonsils out. Like it's actually done a lot less than it used to be. You either have to have like pretty much near constant tonsillitis or be like me where they rupture or they're about to rupture. Like otherwise they don't like taking them out because it's a really nasty healing process and you can still get tonsillitis. I think that's the main thing is like they don't like taking out for tonsillitis unless it's like near constant because yeah, you can still get it. Oh dear. I wonder how they fit such a big ankle into such a small shoe. Wait, it would can you question? Could you film foot surgery on Twitch? Because I would argue that's probably not a very sexy foot. Could you? Oh dear. That's kind of cool. Like, what? List of surgeries you can and cannot film on Twitch. Like, would you? I guess it'd be very bloody is the thing. So like, probably because you have a lot of blood vessels in your feet. So yeah, you know what? Probably no. No, not foot fetish, foot curiosity. I'm just curious. I want to know what the insides of things look like. I'm curious. Although I'll be honest, I do get like not badly squeamish, but like a little bit. There have been times where like the doctors have shown me things and I've been like, oh, okay, I'm done looking at it. Like I would say I don't get like visibly squeamish, but like there are times where I feel like I've looked at an image for too long. It's been like 2 seconds and I'm like, and that's long enough. I don't need to look at that anymore. Oh dear. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm really squeamish, but I can get a little bit. I didn't know that you could stream surgery on Twitch in general, considering. I think there's like an education like thing, so like that's why people film like, or like stream their brain surgeries. It comes under like the educational, and there's a lot of leniency for education when it comes to Twitch guidelines. Like you can show nudity in an educational sense, you can talk about nudity in an educational sense, you can show like organs and stuff like that, but again, it's like Twitch has the stuff about gore, but then if it is for education, it's clearly an educational thing, then yeah, you're fine. And I would say that brain surgery and like showing examples of brain surgery would come more under documentary and education than like gore, especially if you use the correct like tags and warnings in the title. Like, you know, if you've got that you're like filming your own brain surgery, if people are squeamish or don't want to see it, they just won't click it. You know? There is a lot of leniency for education. Oh dear. Oh, it doesn't feel like a real thing. You know, a lot of things don't feel real, but like, there's always one person, right? Tryptophobia images do that for me. Yeah, like the holes. If you don't know what it is, don't Google it. It's the hole phobia, the phobia of holes. I think specifically like lots of holes. Yeah. Oh dear. Make you feel uncomfy. Uncomfy holes. Oh dear. Yeah, I think for the most part I would not say that I am an exceptionally squeamish person, but like I'm also like not the opposite. I'm probably like dead center. where like I feel a little uncomfortable sometimes looking at organs, especially if they're mine, but like, you know, I can't, it's not like I'm feeling sick or can't look at it or anything. It's just like, it makes me feel a little uncomfortable sometimes, but I still want to see it. Even though every single time I get like a little uncomfortable, I still ask to see it every time. So, you know, I'm curious and then I feel a bit squeamish. Yeah. Oh, dick. Holes the book or Holes the movie? Oh, I actually really like the Holes movie. I really enjoyed it. It's been a while since I've seen it now, but I enjoyed it. The book's probably better, yeah, but your girl can't read, so we make do, you know? Also, I think, and I could be wrong, but I feel like it was one of the options for GCSE English was to study Holes, the movie, for like the media part of English. I'm not sure exactly, but I think some people in my year were like, because we were watching Of Mice and Men and then reading Of Mice and Men, I think some people were watching Holes and reading Holes. Yeah. The other one was, which I don't know if it's still in the curriculum, but really did feel a bit different, was The Woman in Black. I don't know if you have that one here in Wales, Shifty, but there was one poor class of students who you could just hear them screaming next door. Who were made, like, because we all were doing the same English thing, you know, we're all doing GCSE English, right? But like, depending on which like teacher you had, you watched a different movie and read a different book. We had Of Mice and Men, which I do feel quite lucky for because actually I really enjoyed Of Mice and Men. One other class which I had some friends in were doing Holes, and then the class next door were doing The Woman in Black, which is a horror film. And like, I'll be honest, I wouldn't say that it's like, you know, the most intense. But like, there are jump scares in it. And like, some people are more jumpy than others. Oh dear. It's an X cover, god damn it. Yes, Blood Brothers, Of Mice and Men, and To Kill a Mockingbird. See, we didn't, so I've read Blood Brothers, but we didn't study that one. That was not part of our curriculum. That had been it for previous years, but we didn't do that one. We had like a newer one, which didn't include that, which I was kind of sad about. Because I feel like that one is like really, really big. And To Kill a Mockingbird as well, we didn't have that one. We had, I believe we had Midsummer's Night's Dream. Is it called a Detective Calls? An Inspector Calls. I hated an Inspector Calls. I really didn't enjoy it. Had a really bad time studying that one. Did not think it was nearly as good as anything else that we had. Mice and Men, I read it in 7th grade and had no memory of it. I actually quite enjoyed studying Of Mice and Men. That one was alright. That was alright. In my school, each class did a different book. Yeah, we also had it that each class did a different book. But like, our books were, I guess, like Holes, Of Mice and Men, and what do you call it? Woman in Black. Oh dear, Rob, good morning. I hope you are doing well. Welcome. Ah dear. I studied To Kill a Mockingbird, King Lear, and Inspector Calls and Heroes. What did you think of an Inspector Calls, Shifty, out of curiosity? Did you enjoy Inspector Calls? I didn't have a lovely lurk. You're good. Yeah, it needs to be at the front of the command to work, unfortunately. I also do that though. Because I'm like, I'm gonna leave a lurk, and then I do exclamation mark lurk, and it never works. Oh dear. I love time back only because if the grapes. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. You liked an Inspector Calls? Oof. I thought it was very mid, but then I also, maybe it's because I was spoiled. Like, so I grew up in a theater-loving family, right? I saw a lot of things live. Like that was one thing that I'd often go and see with like plays, theater, all that kind of stuff. And in Inspector Calls, it's like I've seen the same scenario with better writing. I'm sorry. But as soon as they brought this to our attention, I was like, oh dear. There's literally like, you know, you could go watch like. What's it called? Actually, that would have been a cool one to study. I cannot remember what it's called. And then there was one. And that would have been like, not exactly the same, but like there's a similarity in like the vibes. And it's so good. Oh dear. The Grapes of Wrath. I don't know the Grapes of Wrath. I don't know it. I don't know it. Oh. Is it worth the checking out? And does it have an audiobook? Oh dear. I've read one book this year so far, but I didn't read it. I listened to it. But that is more books than I've read / listened to in a long time. So I'm doing pretty good. Like an 8-year-old play, to be fair. Yeah. It's a little older, a little more dated. But again, no, actually, wait. Screw that. You know, 80 years ago, there were some amazing plays and some amazing films. Oh, wait a second. Nah. Nah, to be fair, there are some differences and you can't necessarily put it up against like the classics of the time, but whoa. Oh dear. Dearie me. It's my favorite story. I was an English major. Ooh, interesting. What kind of stuff does English majors do? I tell to every single time I muck up. I tell Shiny this, but I'm like, I got an A star in my English, which is true. I did get an A star in my English. I actually specifically got a full grade on my English speaking exam, which is when you have to like do a presentation. But then I did theatre, so like, you know. But yeah, A star English pupil right here. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it by like the way that I like talk or write or spell. Spelling was my worst, to be fair. I once in one exam I dropped 2 grades due to poor spelling. I've always been really, really bad at spelling. But yeah, that was pretty good. I guess I'll give anyone an A star. That's kind of what Shiny says. They're like, wow, how the hell did you of all people who can barely speak your only language get an A star? Oh dear. I did. I will say though, I studied, like I said, I studied Of Mice and Men. I studied Of Mice and Men and a couple of poems that I actually really liked all of them. I do think it helps if, especially when you don't get a choice, if the thing that you study you actually enjoy. And I really enjoyed Of Mice and Men. So yeah, it was good. It was good. I had to work in the kitchen for a long time. I go to Burning Man and build things. Ooh, hell yeah. You know what? You're smiling? No, don't blame you. That sounds pretty heckin' good. I like that. I like that. Oh dear. There we are. Oh dear. Yeah. I got lucky. I think if I'd had to study... I would have been okay with Holes, but I think if I'd had to study Women in Black, because I don't hate the Woman in Black, and I'm a horror fan, to be fair, but it's just... I think I prefer video game horror, to be honest, to movie horror. Like video games, I think are a lot more scary than films. Like a scary video game, a well done scary video game, because obviously, like, you know, cough, Resident Evil 6, cough, which still made me jump a couple times, god damn it. But like, you know, but like a good horror game, I think is like a lot scarier than a good horror film. Personally, they made a movie, yeah, they did, and it's a pretty good adaptation. Like, at least in my opinion, I actually quite enjoyed the Mice of Men film, although I don't think everyone did, and I do think there's some nuances in the book that maybe don't translate so well to film, but I still actually think it's a pretty damn good adaptation. And I think if you're not really big into reading but you enjoy films, like, it's probably worth it. It's alright. Oh dear. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Oh dear. I think as well, how to put it, I don't want to spoil Of Mice and Men for you if you've never read it, but I think, so when I read Of Mice and Men, I had very, very recently gone to the doctor who told me that I was autistic, and I think having had that experience, and then going and reading that book, which deals a lot with mental disability. It's interesting. It was definitely something that I immediately like clicked with, and I was like, oh, this is something where it's like, I kind of, not that I get it exactly, because it's very different, and the way that one of the main characters acts is incredibly different to me. Basically, you completely different most of the time, but it's interesting. It's a different perspective, and I don't know. I thought it was really cool. Obviously, it's an incredibly sad story, but like, I still think it's cool. Oh no. Oh no? What's the old no? Oh dear. I think it was really interesting how they, even with the more old-fashioned setting, old-fashioned writing, made, you know, a character you could empathize with, even if you could see what they... It's difficult. I don't want to spoil it. Ah, man, it's hard to talk about without spoiling it. So I'm going to stop because I genuinely think if you haven't and you have an interest, you should go check it out. It is sad. Prepare for sadness. The other book that they did for us, I think because they wanted, so we didn't study this one for the exam, but we studied it beforehand. I think because they knew we were going to be the class that did Of Mice and Men, they wanted us to come from the perspective of having read other books which focus on mental disability. So what was it called? It's a pretty well-known book. It was something to do with the dog in the night. The something of the dog in the night, I think. Does anybody know the full title? If I type in the dog in the night, the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. The curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. So the way that our course did it was they did the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime, and then they went straight to Of Mice and Men. So Of Mice and Men was the one we were studied, but the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime is a book fully centered around a young autistic boy, and like a pretty... someone who struggles a lot with very much like daily tasks, and has a lot of traits which make it very hard for them to do standard stuff. And it's a very good book for a lot of people, and this was quite a big thing for a while. Because it was part of the curriculum, a lot of young people identified themselves as autistic because of this book. So not only is it a very good book, a lot of people managed to get themselves diagnosed as young because of this book, because of the amount of traits that they shared with the main character. It is a very well written book. If you have an interest in autism in the least bit, would highly recommend to check out The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. It also has a play. I believe it has a movie, but I'm not exactly sure on that one. But I think the book and the audiobook is the most accessible and easy to go, because you don't know, they might not be doing the stage show at that time. It's a very, very good book. But yeah, the way that our school set it up was we did that one first, where it was more modern, where it was like a modern day of someone who's quite mentally disabled, with autism specifically. And then going to Of Mice and Men, where things are a bit more abstract and old-fashioned. And yeah, it was quite smart, in my mind. It was quite a smart way to do it, because you were empathetic going into, or like empathetic, sympathetic, I don't know how to put it, but you went into Of Mice and Men with, like, I guess, a bigger sense of empathy, especially for younger kids. I don't know, I think it was a very smart way of doing it. Yeah. So, you know, I did get an A star in my English, but I would like to also maybe say that I had a very big interest in the topic that I had to cover, and also it was presented in a really good way. Like, I don't often say that the UK education system is good, to be honest, but in this particular case, they did a really good job of making sure that the kids were prepared to be sympathetic or empathetic going into it, which meant that people were diving into it a lot more. It was good. Brave New World. I ship between Lego and woodworking. Brave New World or Flowers for. Okay, you thought it was mid, really? See, I'm interested that you thought it was mid, but fair. Like, listen, not every book is for everyone. Shifty, did you ever study The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime? I'm just curious, because like you also would have studied in the UK. I think mainly for us, they only did it if you were going to be studying specifically Of Mice and Men. Ah, dear. Is it just me, or did books have progressive themes long before films did? I mean, maybe. Also, is that Tolius? Tolius, welcome on in. And Sunday, good morning. I hope you're doing well. Hello, hello. We're talking about books that we studied in school, and good ones and bad ones. And where they put you off the book even, maybe. The Grapes of Wrath is my favorite story, and I'm from the States. Ooh, okay. Well, that's a pretty high recommendation. Also, Sunday, thank you so much for the hack and follow. Very kind of you. I started watching the show, The A Word, that also has an autistic boy, and the drama the family makes out of it. I think it's really good and sometimes frustrating to watch. That is also how I would describe The Curious Incident. It can be really frustrating, but at the same time, it is based in realism. It's good. Just jesting about being mid. Also, Nan, never, have you not? would recommend. But also, like, if you're in the right mind space for it, I think sometimes these stories, and of Mice and Men as well, can be really, no, actually, of Mice and Men even more, can be quite a hard read. If you're not in them, because, yeah, listen. It can be quite rough. It can be quite rough. Some books hit really hard. I went to art school, so I get it. Heck yeah. Also, the little bit is apt. Apt? Oh, what is it? Oh dear. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed both of them. Yeah, it was like, I don't know if it's still in the curriculum, but while A Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime was in the curriculum, at least in England, I don't know for Wales if you even have it, but like in England while it was in the curriculum, a lot of young people were able to identify why they were struggling, because you're not really taught about stuff like that, and so either your parents realize for you, or you just notice that you're different and you can't quite explain it, and you struggle with things that other kids aren't struggling with. I mean, for me, I had it that if anyone touched me, I would scream and drop to the floor. And so, like, my parents knew, but they never wanted to bring it up because, we don't want to limit our daughter, even though we can tell she's having problems. But it's like, if she's getting by, and I always had friends, like, I was very lucky to be surrounded by very good people and that respected my boundaries of not being touched, right? But it ended up that I needed to go anyway because it was becoming upsetting for me, where it's like I couldn't handle so many social interactions. And it was a book that I had read around that time, and I think I'd already had the appointment by the time that I read it, to be honest. But I can see it being a really good push for, like, especially because I would have read it when I was like 11, 12-ish, like pretty young. Oh dear. You know what? I'm glad they had it. I kind of hope they still keep it as part of the curriculum. I think it could be invaluable for a lot of young people if you're struggling with like similar things to the main character. I also did the very stereotypical thing of counting cars, which I have kind of forced myself to stop. So I used to. My parents once played a game. We had like a long car journey, and they were like, pick a car color and count how many cars you can see in that color, and the first 1 to 5 wins. And so we were doing that in like the car. It sounds really boring, but listen, it was a long car journey. We were trying everything. And so I decided that I wanted to count pink cars, and I counted pink cars for about 11 years. Which I feel like maybe should have been a bit of a giveaway. Even to me, whereas like I'm the only person that obsessively counts pink vehicles, and this game is very much over. But no, I did stop it. I stopped doing it because yeah, it was becoming a bit of a problem, and also I was looking at the roads too much but not looking at if cars were going. We've changed. Oh dear. Oh, the Cat D11 Bulldozer Technic. Ooh. I hate that boots disappear. They disappear. Oh, do you mean like go out of curriculum and stuff? It feels like if it's like an important or influential book, it should stay. But at the same time, I can kind of understand why they rotate. Because there's a lot of important, influential ones. We used to count yellow cards, but that's because if you saw a yellow card, you'd have to call it and punch someone in. What? Oh my god, a Britishism that I don't know about. Wait, what is the Britishism where you punch people for yellow? I've never been punched because of a yellow card. What? What? Oh dear. What in the heck? Oh dear. What's with the squid? What squid? What squid? What squid are you referring to? There's no squids on stream. Only me, a slime girl, my jello, my jelly. Oh dear. You never heard of it? I've literally, I can't tell if you're gesturing me. Like, I've never heard of this. Why do you punch people? Wait, driving a yellow car is so rude. You punched for beetles? What? Also, throat, welcome on in. Wait, I have heard none of these games. Why are you all punching each other because of different cards? What the heck? One time at school, we had a choice between the book Simple from a French author about 17 years old trying to take care of a disabled 21-year-old brother, so well written, being humorous while still looking at the topic very seriously, and a book about a teen doing really bad at school. The second book won, and I hated working on it. My mum got me Simple because I wanted to read it. Aww. That's nice. Heck yeah. I get it to an extent though. Like, I understand why people wouldn't want to, because it's a hard topic. There will be people that find it very uncomfortable to talk about, because there's a lot of stereotypes around disability, and you know, I can understand, especially when you bring that question to kids. Like, people are going to pick the option that's more relatable to them, which is, you know, struggling in school, rather than maybe what could be quite an uncomfortable topic for a lot of people. I don't believe that it should be an uncomfortable or taboo topic, but, you know, just because that's what I think doesn't mean that's how it is. It's a jellyfish, yeah! So this is this little jello in the corner. You can use TTS with the channel points and he'll speak. As long as you don't use too much punctuation, because if you use more than one punctuation in a row, he stops speaking. He won't do it. He refuses. Also, if you say any really rude words, he probably won't say them. Dear. There, in the arm, not in the face. Oh, okay, sorry. Teammates' boys will make up any reason to punch each other. Really? All I can think of is like pinch punch first of the month, and you know, birthday bops. They're the only ones I can think of, is pinch punch first of the month and birthday bops. And because I didn't like being touched, it never really happened to me. Yay! Did throw welcome one in. I hope we're doing that. If you flinch, you're a big wuss and everyone... What? So if you react to being punched, you're... What? Just struggling at school. Someone at school did a pupil. No! I'm sorry to hear that. That's very scary. That's probably one of the scariest situations to happen. I hope that everyone, you know, is okay. Oh dear. Actually, apparently it's something that dates back to the 16... Really? Wait, just punching each other for, like, random reasons? Is this something that, like, historians will look back on, or maybe are looking back on and being like, and yes, this was the pinch punch first of the month routine. It was a ritual that be done on the first of every month by youth. Where they would go up to each other, and before anyone else could do it, they would make sure to be the first to pinch and punch their friends or family, and then tell them it was because of the first of the month. It's so weird. How many yellow cards are... That's a good point, actually. Beetles and yellow cards. Well, it depends, though. Maybe back then it was like Beetles the bug. So every time you saw, like, a bug, you'd be like, oh, a bug! Punch! No, so I was going around punching people. Pinch punch first of the calendar month. Haha. The yellow card game was actually... Oh, wait, sorry, that's a long one. I don't know if I can read all that. A surprising history behind it, which Professor J. Blumos of the history of south of Sussex has thoroughly researched. The game can be traced back to early 1600s by carters. Oh dear. When the bards arrived at Dublin full of yellow crop, the dock workers were known to punch each other on the arm. Happy for a successful crossing. I can kind of see that. That's what the boom everyone voted for. I don't know why everyone liked it so much. I thought it was a crappy book, not necessarily because of the topic, because of how it was written. That's fair. And I think as well, like, different writing will always appeal to different people. Like, Shifty really likes an Inspector Calls. I really didn't like it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is bad, but it's you know, not for everyone. Although I still think they were better. But, like, you know... It's not for everyone. I really liked, growing up, the Marx Brothers, which is very much slapstick comedy. Well, lots of people these days hate slapstick comedy, cannot stand it. And so it's like, you know, it doesn't mean that it's bad. No, but it's not for everyone. Oh dear. But I am a slapstick kind of girl. I like poop, I like piss, I like silly jokes, potty humor. Yep, that's up my alley. Oh dear. And now people walking down the street punch their friends when they spot a yellow car passing. World of things have been twisted. We are a twisted race. Hell yeah. Humanity is incredibly twisted. When we see something yellow, we punch each other. Carl and the lesser known brother Jeff Marks. I like, what is it? The story of, is it Harpo? Was it Harpo? The one who forgot his script on like the first ever thing and so was just mute and then decided that that was the character. Oh dear, 10 out of 10. Because yeah, he wasn't meant to be mute, was he? But then because the first, I don't know if it was a film or the show or whatever, but the first ever performance, he didn't have his script, and so he was just mute. Slapstick is my favorite, but I still love some good old situational comedy now and then. This is the thing, it's like, it's definitely comedy and like stuff like writing goes in and out of fashion, and you won't always be a fan of all of it. Jimmy the Sniff Marks. I don't know much about it. I was a kid when I watched it. I don't know much about all of it. I know a couple of very silly jokes, and that's what I remember. I just have good memories watching it with my granddads. So like, they'd be like, yeah, go over to their house on a Sunday and they'd watch Doc Soup with me, and I'd be like, haha, slapstick. And it was something we could both laugh about because the jokes were for the most part simple enough that I'd understand, but they were like nostalgic to my grandparents. So it was nice. Charlie Chaplin movies, Chef's Kiss, yeah! Making jokes about Karl Marx and father of communism and the Marx Brothers. Oh, they're different people, right? I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong. I was also a child. I was a baby, but I have very fond memories watching it with my grandparents. Heck yeah. Oh dear. There we go. I'm sorry. No. Oh, they are the same person? Are they? Oh, okay. Nobody tell it. Wait. Oh no. I was baby. You're being rude to me and my baby self. I didn't know. I don't know. I'm gonna say they're probably not though. I feel like that would be a weird side gig. Oh dear. There we go. Oh. Oh, you know, okay, wait. Speaking of older films and mental health, Harvey. Anyone here watched Harvey? Anybody here watched Harvey? Harvey is, well, there is an argument to say that it's not about mental health and it's a supernatural movie. It's a very old film. Harvey sounds familiar. It's a very old film about a man who sees a giant rabbit called Harvey. Harvey cannot be seen by anyone else. The only person who can see it is this man. And this man has a history of alcoholism and stuff like that, so a lot of people assume that he's just drunk and hallucinating. But he insists, he holds the door open for Harvey. Harvey's not there. You never see Harvey in the movie, by the way. You just see, like, the actor who can see it, the main character, kind of moving around him and stuff like that, and, like, you know, reference him being there. You never actually see him. And the whole film is about how much of a mental toll this man takes on the rest of the family because of his mental disorder. And the kind of message behind the show is, he's happy. Why is it your problem? And this film's like very old. This is like a black and white movie. And back then they were like, you know what? His mental health is not your problem. Stop making it your problem. He's happy, leave him be. He's not hurting anyone. And like, you know, it costs nothing to just be kind. And like, it's an old film. Like, and they were like, listen, you see films these days that like portray mental disorders like hallucinations and stuff like that in a much worse way from now. But like, you know, back then in black and white, they were, you know, it's not a perfect film by any stretch, but like, there's this guy who could see Harvey. And like, he's happy, he's having a good time. It's not hurting him, he's not hurting anyone else. It is very much left up in the air because you never see Harvey. There is like a lot of theories about it. Obviously, he could be hallucinating because of mental disorder. It could be alcoholism. It could be something to do with that. Or it could be, I think the supernatural theory is that it's called a polka. I could be wrong, I don't know too much about that. But that's one of the other theories about it, because again, you never see this thing. It's only the main character that ever sees him. And so like you never see him, he's never visualized, you just don't know. He's just a giant rabbit that this person can see and that you never see in the film, and you know, it's a really interesting film. If you're okay with watching black and white, and like, you know, you have to be aware that it is an older film, so some of the jokes might not always land and stuff. But yeah, it's an older film, but it's a really interesting portrayal of like, basically his whole family is trying to get him institutionalized because he's such a burden on everybody around him. Like oh my god, it's so hard to be around this guy. Like, Jesus Christ. When, you know, and there are people in the movie, it's like, but he's not hurting anyone. Like, he really isn't. Like, you know, he's not a danger to himself or anybody else. You know, you want him institutionalized because you can't be bothered to put up, or you can't, you know, because you are uncomfortable with the fact that someone is mentally ill. You know, that's why you want him institutionalized, for your benefit, not for his. And it's again a really old film, and whenever people say things like, you know, modern films have like a long way of go when it comes to portraying mental illness, no, it's just that people have such a weird warped, like, people have always told good stories about mental illness, but like they're either very old or inaccessible. Like Harvey, I don't know how you would watch it these days unless you have it on video. Like, let me have a little look, see, because I've obviously recommended it at this point. I can also get the official blurb, so if anyone is interested. Harvey film. So it's from 1950. Harvey is a 1950 American comedy drama film based on Mary Chase's 1944 play of the same name, directed by Harry. The story centers of a man whose best friend, it says on the Wikipedia that it's a puka, but it's never said that in the film, is a puka named Harvey, who is 1.9 meters tall, invisible white rabbit, and the ensuing debacle when the man's sister tries to have him committed to a sanatorium. I don't want to go too far into the plot, but yeah. It says on the Wikipedia that, but I don't think they ever say that in the film, you know. I don't believe it's ever stated in the film that's what it is. Yeah, in other ones it's an invisible 6-foot rabbit. That's how it's always described. It's just an invisible 6-foot rabbit that only the main character can see. But it could be a puka, or it could be a hallucination, or it could be a result of alcoholism. It really could be any of them. Dear. This one says it's a spirit now, so... Oh dear, probably back in the day it would have been better if it had been like a spirit or something. Dear. Yeah. After his sister tries to commit him to a mental institution, a comedy of errors ensues. Elwood and Harvey become the catalyst for a family mending its wound and a romance blossoming in unexpected places. Yes. Yes. It's again, it's people are like, you just have to kind of see it. You just kind of have to watch it and you'll kind of see. But it is people treating someone differently, really in a nasty way, and like to get him out of their problem. And I feel like, you know, it's still a very poignant film today. Yeah, even like, what is it? It's been like 80 years. And we still treat people with mental health issues like that. It's unfortunate. That's a very good way of putting it. It's unfortunately a tale of all the time. Like, it is easier for people to put people who are struggling with their mental health in, you know, institutions and stuff like that, which actually don't help, especially back then, because, you know, sanatoriums were not a nice place to be put. It's a lot better now. Mental health clinics have come a long way since then. But, you know, it's easier to get rid of these people rather than to actually listen to them. And again, most of the time, these people aren't hurting anyone, but the idea that people can see something that you can't is so stigmatized and like scary, and, you know, which it shouldn't be. You know, 99% of the time, people with mental health issues are not there to hurt you. And I think as well, most of the time people are more of a harm to themselves, and that's why people still get like no, I don't want to say it's not institutionalized, but they go into either walk-in centers or like mental health like stay-in clinics. It's not because they're necessarily harmful to other people, but most of the time they're harmful to themselves. Yeah, but again, like I said, it's a tale as old as time. But I would recommend it again, like, if you have an interest in this kind of stuff, mental health, and like, again, like, this is how it would have been portrayed. Well, if the screenplay was 1944, so it's like, you're looking at how it would have been portrayed, I guess, yeah, like 80 years ago-ish, right? So, if you're curious about how mental health was portrayed that long ago, and also, but also, like, it is a very progressive story about, like, literally, he's not hurting anyone, leave him be. Oh, dear. It is. You know, it's not a sad story. If you're looking for, like, a story that so focuses on mental health that isn't sad, Harvey's a good option. It is a comedy film at the end of the day. There are other themes that go through it as well. I will not spoil too much for you. Not more than the blurb has said, at least. But yeah, would recommend it. Would recommend it. It's old, and I didn't check out how you could actually view it. Is it on any streaming platforms? You can apparently watch it on Amazon Prime. Can you? Otherwise, and it's on YouTube for £2.50. So there are ways you can watch it. You just have to, I guess, pay for it. But then if you were buying a DVD, you'd have to pay for it anyway. Well, I don't know if it's on DVD. Yeah, older film. Another old film. Sorry, I'm just going on old film chats today. It feels like every film I want to watch is on streaming services. I wonder if this one is. Do you know a film called Arsenic and Old Lace? It's another older film. Arsenic and Old Lace. That is from 1944. How can you watch that on anything? Is it on anything? Oh no. Oh no. I don't know if this one's on anything. It's like a dark comedy from 1944. It's very difficult. Can't say I have. The slapstick in that film, it is very dark. But it is quite, it's honestly slightly surprising that, like, I guess there's been darker themes through older stuff for a while, though. It almost, to an extent, it surprises me with the main themes. Let me see if I can find the blurbs so that I don't spoil anything accidentally. Oh yeah, there we go. A Brooklyn writer of books of futility of marriage risks his reputation when he decides to tie the knot. Things get more complicated, however, when he learns on his wedding day that his beloved aunts are habitual murderers. When he finds out his aunts are habitual murderers. It's like a really odd one, and like it sets itself up for slapstick very well, where like this, it seems like the original comedy is going to be, oh, a guy that hates marriage gets married, lol. But no, the immediate twist, like in the first 5 minutes, is, wait a minute, my aunts are habitual murderers. It's a very silly film, and like, despite its dark theme, it's very funny. It has a lot of very funny moments, and it does the, like building comedy to a crescendo, it does that really well, where just all the pieces fall into place and it's hilarious. Would highly recommend it. Again, an older film, and I genuinely do not know how you're gonna watch it. I can't see any way of watching Arsenic and Old Lace. It gets a 91% like, though. People like it, which is not really surprising. If I was to go shopping, is there any way I could purchase it? You can buy it as a DVD. I don't know if that might be the only way you can watch it, though, is to like purchase a DVD of it, because I don't think it's not even like, you can't even like buy it on YouTube from the looks of it, unless I'm missing something. It doesn't look like you can like actually I think you have to buy a physical copy of it. That's a hard one to watch then. I mean, sometimes it does come onto television still, like they still do play reruns of it. If you see it maybe coming up, give it a go if you're looking for just for some like good old laughs. Honestly, I might go, I think I have it on DVD, to be honest. I have like a thing of like, if things are hard to get, I often go buy it. I know that I own Harvey, for instance, because like these things don't necessarily get easier to watch, and I wouldn't want to never be able to watch it again. So yeah, I've got into a habit of purchasing older films on DVD and stuff, even though the quality is not great, just in case they ever stop running on television. What is this? I'm not sure what that was, but I think it's okay. It seems to have fixed itself. What are you making? Okay, so this is smocking that I am going in and decorating. If you see the costume, or like the image, this side of me, just on this side, next to chat, that's the costume we're making at the moment. I am currently working on so this is the pattern for the piece that we're working on right now. So what I'm making are like the strips that go over the shoulders. So instead of just having them as strips of fabric, I wanted them as like quite 3D and detailed, because this is meant to be an exceptionally extravagant piece. So all of these are the strips that will end up going around the shoulders. One shoulder is a light purple and one shoulder is a dark purple. And these are the two colors. So this is the dark purple, this is the light purple. They just need to be like pretty highly decorated. So we're putting sequins in between the smocking so that they have like a pretty iridescent glow. And then I go back in with embroidery thread and do little stars because they have like a celestial theme. So yeah, just to bring like the decoration back to the theming. Dear Sunkai, welcome on in. Sorry for the camera flicking. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. We've been talking about old films. I've just been talking about Arsenic and Old Lace. I don't know if you're familiar. It's like a old dark comedy. We've also talked about Harvey though, and I mean, I feel like more people would maybe know bed knobs and broomsticks. That's a good one. That one's in color, right? So that's like a bit newer. Bed knobs and broomsticks. That's a classic. They do look really nice, thank you. Yeah, it's a very long process. So to make one of these takes about 20 to 25 hours. And I need to make 9 of them. So you can kind of imagine like it's a bit of a process, but it's so worth it because you end up with something so beautiful. But like, yeah, it's slow work. But I like that. It works well for streaming because we can like talk about whatever we want. And like, I'll just be background, you know, making stuff. It's basically like a just chatting stream with like some extra crafts thrown in. You're bad at films? That's fair. I am normally very bad at films. It's only older films that I'm a little bit better at because my family grew me up on them. Bed knobs and broomsticks are classic. Yes, I have the vaguest recollection of that film. I mean, if you ever see it again, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's got the bobbing along, sing a song at the bottom of the beautiful briny sea. What a chance to get a better peep at the wondrous creatures of the deep. Yeah, bobbing along. I sing that every time someone in my life is like, I'm just bobbing along. I'm like, bobbing along, singing a song. It's stuck. Oh, sorry. I need to start hitting the desk. I need to move this a little bit more so that it flicks a little bit less easily. Sorry. I'm getting too excited. Too much bobbing along. Oh dear, you watched the film so many times. Heck yeah. Oh no, you've watched so many films this month. Wait, what have you watched? Yeah, listen. Fight me. I do my best. I am not a vocalist. Not yet. Maybe one day. Maybe that's what I should be doing. Coming onto stream and doing like vocal practice. Like, what is it? What does it start with? So, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do kind of stuff. Then it went straight to Oliver. You know, I was Oliver once. And that is literally the only vocal performance that I've ever had to do live on stage. I was Oliver. I wonder why. Oliver. I still remember all the songs because we had to sing them so much. Like, where's love? I don't know if I can do the high bits anymore though. And I definitely can't do it in my regular voice. I'd have to like switch a little bit, I think. I don't think it'd sound very good anymore. Oh dear. Also, did you mean jellyflash? Very important question. That we still have. Oh dear. Oh wait, I didn't even finish that one. I moved on to another one. I haven't even finished the previous one. God. Half-assed cosplay alert. Jesus Christ. I must have just missed them. How the hell did that happen? Alright, it's alright. We can go back to... I think it's because I had like a weird moment with my thread and it distracted me. Speaking of weird moments with the thread, I'm still having a weird moment with this thread. Please just stitch normally. There we go. Okay, we'll go back. Pretend that never happened. Heck yeah. Oh dear, what other films were there? I really enjoyed The Court Jester, and I still recommend that to people, but I don't think many people here would have watched The Court Jester. The Court Jester is probably what made me fall in love with jesters in the first, or like clown and jester fashion in the first place. Also, The Court Jester has aged like fine wine. I know I've talked about this before, but like, I will talk about it again. There are literally, because they didn't really have like a lot of effects, like special effects and stuff, so a lot of it just had to be done like there and then. Like they couldn't necessarily like do a lot of things that we can do with modern cinema. They tried to use a lot of special effects, and it's so funny. My favorite bit, which is I think a lot of people's favorite bit, is the bit where they ask if the people, there's like a ceremony happening, and so they ask, oh, would you mind speeding this up a little bit? And so instead of having the actors just move faster, they put the film at like 2 times speed and act like that's normal. So they're like, oh, would you mind just speeding it up a bit? And everyone goes from like much to much. But it's like so clearly just been sped up. It's so funny. And I don't think it's like intentional comedy, but it is very funny. Oh dear, you need to watch it at some point, honestly. I think you'll genuinely have a good time with that one. A lot of the jokes still hit, but now there's the added funniness of like it just having been aged a bit. That just makes it even funnier. Oh dear. There's also a lot of like, I don't know, it's like, again, it's like more slapstick, so like a lot of the jokes happen quite quickly, but they do build to like still a very good crescendo near the end. It's very funny. I enjoy it a lot. It's it's just harmless, silly. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, some dated film techniques, yeah. It always makes me smile just watching them like... I wonder if it's... Can I show you that scene? I want you guys to know what I'm talking about. If I type in... would be the court jester marching scene? I think? Yeah, it's 1.5 minutes long. Also, good morning. I hope you're doing well. It is Cult of the Lamb music. Although I am just gonna pause it very quickly. I love the Cult of the Lamb OS too. I think it's fantastic. Okay, how could I show you this properly? I guess it'd be a window capture, right? Who's petting me? How could you? Oi, 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 oi. Oh, apparently you can buy the Court Jester on YouTube. So there you go. There's a way that you can watch it. Is this it? This is it, right? Where they're like... Faster. Yeah, faster. And then it's just... everyone's wait. I can't even tell what they're saying. I thought they were at least legible. What the heck? Oh my god, who's made me suspicious? How could you go? How could you? I'm deciding whether or not I should show you the scene or not, or if you should just watch the film. I've watched 7 films apparently. Oh, that is quite a lot. Heck yeah, were they good? I know you watched the anime film, but were they good? Cult of the Lamb has got great music. I'm not sure how I showed this to you. Sorry, I'm having like a... You ever have like a complete mind blank as a streamer? I'm having a complete mind blank. If I do this and I'm like this, and then I could just like zoom it in, right? Where I'm just like, yeah, like just zoom it. And then you'll be able, there you go. This is... Does this work for you? Does this work? You can see it, right? Like there is a big black box around the outside, but you can see it. Let me put that there really quickly. Okay, we'll try if this works. Sorry, I've got like halfway through. You guys are probably not gonna find this funny, and I'm just gonna be cackling. Because this is the kind of comedy that makes me laugh. Verily, yay. Oh dear. One was more of a special, but apparently it counts in whatever. Heck yeah. Yay, verily, yay. I see. Yay, verily, yay. Yeah, they're gonna knight the jester, who is the gold person, which maybe this is also where my love of gold come from. This is the court jester. Faster. They just speed up the film. I don't know why it's doing like this. I wanted to just speed it up. It gets me every single time. It's just I'm just falling about it. Every single time this scene gets me so bad. I'm just so pumped. Oh my god. I love it. I love it. You guys, I love that scene so much. Oh my god. There you go. There you go. Now you know what I was talking about. Where I'm like, this film has aged like fine wine. It's called The Court Jester. It is something. It's crying. I'm also crying. I just like, yeah, just speed it up a little bit. But you can still hear the audio, so it's just like a sound of just. And then I love the bit where they're like going in a line and they fast forward. They go forward and they rewind it. And they do it in reverse and they fast forward again. I was like, why? Oh my god, it's so good. Yes, if you've not seen that film and you need to laugh a little bit, that film has a lot of very funny, there's a lot of genuinely funny jokes and a lot of bits that just aged amazingly. That's very Mel Brooks fight, really? As a sorry. I was trying to speak, but like I know what that scene does to me. I'm like, shit, that scene makes me laugh so much every single time. I'm just like, it makes my whole family die as well. Like we're all waiting for it. Where it's like, the film's called The Court Jester. Let me. It's like The Court Jester. There we go. Like that. Sorry, my accent can sometimes make these things a little difficult. The Court Jester, and it's like it's a musical film set with like the main character being something akin to Robin Hood. So like, you know, they're trying to make their way and like, you know, the king sucks and yada yada yada. They're trying to get in to help save the kingdom. They're trying to get into the royal court and they stumble across a royal jester. And they're like, wait, if we steal his clothes and pretend to be a jester, we can get into the castle. And so that's how the film goes. So it is just a random guy dressing as the court jester and pretending to be the court jester while trying to foil an assassination, but also, you know, help with another. It all gets a bit complicated. Also, Blue, welcome on in. Thank you so much for the follow. It's very kind of you. We're just talking about the Court Jester, an old film with some interesting older animation. It's good, but silly. It is a stupid film. But again, if you're looking for just like no thinking, just laughing, it's a really good film. Oh dear. There's a lot of bits that I really like. There's a wonderful, when again, talking about assassinations. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. You know what, I kind of need to. When speaking about assassinations, the person who's doing the assassinating is like, don't worry. The pellet with the poison's in the vessel with the pestle. And it becomes like this massive tongue twister where you're like, why? And they're all like speaking in tongues. Every single time where I'm like, the vessel with the pestles and the pellet with the poison. No, the pellet with the poison and the vessel with the pestle. The chalice from the palace is the brew that is true. But now they have the flagon with the dragon. The flagon with the dragon has the pellet with the poison. 10 out of 10. I have no idea what's going on in half of these scenes, but it makes me laugh every time. How is everyone? I'm good, thank you. So we've been doing some smocking recently, and these will be strips that I'll be using on the shoulders for the next costume. We're just going back through them now and adding some sequins and making them really sparkly because it's meant to be a very, very extravagant costume. And so I wanted to like shine in the light, every single part to shine the light. Pre-stream. I mean, I really want to remember what it was. I know there's pellet with the poisons and the vessel with the pestle. I think the chalice from the palace was the brew that was true. And then there's the flagon with the picture of a dragon. So the flagon with the dragon. And it's like there's a whole interaction with them just like tongue twistering at each other. It's like aggressive tongue twistering. And like that's the kind of comedy that always gets me. It's stupid. It's like lighthearted. It makes me laugh every time. Yeah. And you need that sometimes. I have exactly zero idea what you said. Very fair. The film sounds funny. Yeah, I would say the musical numbers are pretty cool as well. I like the one where he's like singing about being a jester. That's pretty good. I mean, he was, is his name Danny something? He was a pretty big actor back in the day. I think his name's Danny Kaye. Yeah, Danny Kaye. I'm pretty sure he was a big actor and comedian. Like he's done a lot of films. He did White Christmas, yeah, The Court Jester, Hans Christian Andersen, you know, Inspector General. Yeah. Oh dear, but I guess they were kind of older films, so like I don't know. It depends. It depends if you've watched a lot of older films. But he's in a lot of them. If you have an interest, he'll be in a lot of them. Excuse me, Ian, welcome on in. My yoga teacher from Jamaica. She's teaching us. Welcome though, I hope you're doing good. And thank you for the hit. Yeah, he was big. Yeah, he was a big actor back in the day. Is that maybe not tight enough? I can make that tighter if that's not tight enough. Yeah, I think I kind of want to. It's not like awful, but I don't want any of the. I really don't want the sequins to be loose because then I feel like they'll catch easier. So while I notice that it feels a little bit loose, I'll just tighten it at the back. Heck yeah! Something you saw at TwitchCon after looking after your voice was taken up hours. They recommended tongue twisters to limber up. Maybe I should just be quoting the court jester then, every single morning before stream. Oh dear. Yeah, it's got a lot of very highly quotable moments. It's very funny. Don't choke on my jokes, we need jelly alive. There you! No, you're good, you're good. Though I know him as a famous singer, I didn't know much about his acting. Well, you know, he acts in musicals, so like in the Court Jester, he sings a lot. I think he's the only main vocalist, really. Like he has a lot of solo performances. Like there's often like a group of people singing behind him, but he's the only one I could think that has like his own songs. Yeah, because you have You'll Never Outfox the Fox. You have the Court Jester song. Yeah. He is, he does sing. He does sing. He's pretty good. He's very good. Ah, dear. Duly noted. Yes, one of the songs he did was in... Wait, really? Is it? Oh, you know what, though? He has, like, a very theatrical voice. I can see that working really, really well. Ooh, that's so cool. I don't think... So, you know when you've seen someone as something, they're like, he'll always be the Court Jester to me, I think. Even though I've seen him in other things, because the Court Jester is the one that I've watched over and over again. To me, he will always be the Court Jester. But, yeah, it's very good. Never call out Pastor the Jester. Yeah, never do that. Don't pester the Jester. I'm nearly out of sequins. Oh, no. To be fair, if I run out of sequins, what I can do is, I've got some more coming in the post, I should say. So, like, we will only have run out for a couple of days, if that. If I run out of sequins, I can just do the embroidery for the ones that are ready. Yeah. Bingo banga bongo, I don't want to leave the Congo. No, 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 no. I'm so happy in the jungle. I refuse to go. Oh, is it the song? I'm just here like yelling it like slam poetry. I'm sorry. My bad. I got confused. Oh dear, yeah. Oh, you know another, what are they called? Ray Harryhausen films. Did people watch Ray Harryhausen films growing up? Because I loved them. They're like the stop motion monster films. He done quite a few. I can't remember what they're called. The one with the Cyclops is the one that I think I watched the most. Let's see. Where is... How do you spell Harryhausen? Ray... Harryhausen, there we go. Oh, how do I find out? A Clash of the Titans, the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, I think. Maybe? What's a Clash of the Titans? Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Which one's the one with the Cyclops? I guess because you remember them more by their monsters than you do maybe the names. It's the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. Yeah, that's the one that I remember with the big Cyclops guy that they fight on the beach. Yeah. I remember that one. Ah, dear. That was interesting. That was an interesting one. It had like very unusual, because it's stop motion, right? But they were such detailed monsters. Nothing Wallace and Gromit like. Super detailed. Ah, dear. Go. There we are. Oh dear. Oh, Ioden, are you still in chat? Out of interest. If not, do not worry. If not, do not worry. Ah, dear. Stop motion's a lot of work. They are, yeah. It's a hell of a lot of work. It's very impressive because they do like fight scenes with the stop motion. It's very, very cool. Again, if you have like an interest, I suppose, in animation in that case, like, would recommend to check them out. I mean, if you have an interest in animation, you've probably already heard of them because they're not well known. Like, they're very influential films. and the animation style and everything. It's like, you'll see references to it in a lot of modern stuff as well. I'm pretty sure, didn't they reference it in Gravity Falls? I could be wrong, but I'm like 99% sure they did a massive like Ray Harryhausen reference in Gravity Falls. Like, it's still referenced in like modern cinema and films and shows and stuff, because like it was that influential. I didn't know the name, but I've looked it up and you recognize the work here. Ray Harryhausen. Harryhausen is the person that done all the animations and stuff. So yeah, they a lot of hard work, but yeah, it's like it's still a pretty well referenced thing. Speaking of stop motion, I still need to see the oh yeah, so actually that is a film that I would really like to see as well. I don't normally have too much of an interest in films, but everyone says that that is just such a good reimagining, and like you know, the animation, all that kind of stuff. I want to see it. I do want to see that one, and I've seen like little clips of it, and it looks so good. Yeah, that one's actually, yeah, that's pretty high up on my list. You've seen it too? Heck yeah, of films that I'd actually like to see. Because I've always enjoyed stop motion. And so, yeah, I'd love to see it. Heck yeah. I want to have a bit of an experience with that. What is happening with the ducks? Are they okay? My god. So much fire. Jesus. He's one of my favorite directors. That was a reference in Monsters, Inc. The restaurant that goes, oh, Harryhausen. Aww. Maybe I could just Google, like, list of Ray Harryhausen references, because I feel like it's still referenced pretty high. Like, a lot. But yeah, I grew up watching those films, and I really enjoyed them. They always, you know, they're kind of scary, but kind of cool. Like, because they are pretty, like, for monsters, and especially for stop motion monsters, the way that they move, and like, it's very good. If I do Ray Harryhausen references maybe.
First off, Dad.
Oh, no,
I'm
didn't like that.
bisexual. Yeah, gay.
Harryhausen. Thank you for making me gay. References. There you go. Oh, it will be on the Wikipedia, won't it? Oh, of course. In popular culture, he's in Killer Instinct, Mayhem and Magic. What? He is in Disney Pixar Monsters Inc. Yep. Mars Attacks that has a tribute to Harryhausen in it, which makes sense because Mars Attacks is I can see that. And then ooh, I don't know. So Gravity Falls, yep, I remember that one. Corpse Bride, yep. The Hoosiers did a whole song, yeah. Worried About Ray is actually inspired by Ray Harryhausen. I forgot about that. Oh my god. Clash of Titans, yeah. Ooh, I don't know that person. Strangler singer Hugh Cornwell. Okay. And then like King Kong and all that. Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. Yeah, it's pretty big. It was pretty big. Oh dear. Thank you, Celtic. Welcome on in. I hope you're doing good. We've been adding sequins to the smocking that we worked on. So we've just been doing like the counterpart to the lighter smocking with the darker smocking. Heck yeah. I mean, it's the same, the stuff is, the techniques are the same, it's just two different colors of fabric. But yeah, I like it. I think it's ended up very cute so far. And I honestly really like the sequins on this. They really glow. They glow on the light one as well, but this one they really glow. And it's the same sequins I'm using. They're just like the holographic see-through ones. Heck yeah. All right, I need some more thread. And we've been talking about films, like specifically, I guess, older films, really. And oh. Thank you for making me. Thank you for making me radioactive. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. They've been really fun to make as well. Although I've nearly run out of sequins. Maybe I should. Yeah, I don't know if I have enough to do the next one. Maybe I should change gear really quickly and just do some of the embroidery bits in between. I would normally go up the whole thing and do all the sequins, but I've only got like 6 or 7 sequins left. So I'll come back to that. But again, I've got some coming in the post, so like pretty soon I can keep going with that. I just have to wait for them to arrive. And I think they're, oh. Got it. Okay, sorry, a needle just fell like directly into my crotch. That's terrifying. You don't want the needles to come out of the pincushion, that's for sure. They're very sharp. All right, there you go. That's the needle that I wanted. Whoa, whoa, fear. Now, nothing like a good bit of fear to wake you up in the morning, huh? Although, actually, it's getting pretty close to midday now. Ah, dear. This is a little while off now, but I will need to end before 1 o'clock. Just because I need to keep an ear out for something. Heck yeah. There was a Ghibli reference. Oh, was there? Aww. Hell yeah. It's really nice when people reference, like, maybe their inspirations or people that, yeah, you know, people that inspire them, got into the craft, stuff like that. It's so lovely. Yeah, I do. I use fear to wake up. The way that I wake up in the morning is afraid. Actually, you know what? That's not super far from the truth, though. So when I was growing up, you know, this was in the time where like people would like burn stuff onto CDs, and then you'd have like your own CD of like all the songs that you like. So like, I remember asking my family to like burn some songs onto a CD, and I was very specific about the one that I wanted to wake me up, because basically the way that my CD player would work is you could have it as an alarm, so you could wake up in the morning to whatever the first track was. And so I believe I had it for quite, like, I don't know how many years it was, but for quite a few years I had what's it called, System of a Down, like, wake up, grab a bunch of makeup. And like, because it has like a bit of an intro where it's like dan da dan da dan da dan dan dan, I'd have that length of time to like run across the room and turn off my alarm before it started screaming at me. Oh dear. You know what? That was a fun morning activity. I enjoyed it. CDs nuts. Thank you. What's blue of CDs? CDs. I was setting Jelly up. God, you guys all had the same idea. Wow. Rude. Ah, dear. Thank you. Oh dear, you snooze, you lose. I wasn't snoozing, I was sprinting across the room to wake myself up. Jesus Christ. It was so loud. I also had, when I was a bit older, because, you know, same sort of thing, I don't know, what's it called? Lacuna Coil. It's done by Lacuna Coil. I don't remember what the song's called, but I know the song starts with wow, 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 wow. It's that one. And I used to have that wake me up, and that also terrified me. So I do have a bit of a history waking up in fear, honestly. But then there's like a fear of my own I did this to myself. I can't really complain. Oh, there, Edge, good morning. I hope you're doing well. There, how are you doing today? I'm alright, thank you. Got kind of a lot of stuff happening outside of streaming right now, so I guess I'm a bit preoccupied, summer maybe. But it's been nice. It's nice to take a break in the mornings and just, you know, relax and not think about everything else and chill for a bit. So that's been good. And I'm really enjoying how the smocking is coming along. I nearly forgot what I was doing there for a second. I've been telling everyone what I'm doing, but then when it comes to me saying it, don't remember. I'm really enjoying how the smocking is coming along. I think it looks really, really cool. I like it a lot. If I wake up like that, I think I'll forget my dreams, but then I usually do anyways. See, I've always been like a really heavy dreamer, but then I'll be honest, most of the time when I have dreams, I wake up in the middle of the night. Like, I very rarely wake up to my alarm whilst dreaming, but like, I'll wake up at like 4 in the morning having had a dream. Yeah. Maybe that's just me though. I also, though, to be fair, consistently wake up in the night. Like, I wake up normally a few times a night. So maybe that's why. I'm a very light sleeper. It doesn't take very much to wake me up. I'm very good at getting back to sleep though, so you know what? It works. While I might be a light sleeper, I'm also very good at sleeping. It's my skill. Alright, now we go through these bits and we just thicken up the base a little bit. Go. And it should make it look like a little star is coming out of the sequins. Heck yeah. I'm actually up because I had an... Oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Also, thank you for making me a demon, right? As someone's having a nightmare. I'm sorry to hear about that. It's no fun. And thank you for the luck, Shifty. Take care of yourself. I'm glad to hear that you've been getting better, to be fair. Not fun. Not fun to feel sick. Look at that. Get that underneath there, of course, but... There's a little shiny star in there with a star in the middle, right? Heck yeah! Oh dear. Oops. Alright, next one. We just have to go around now doing this to all of them. and I'll tie a knot after it because I don't want to damage itself or anything, so we'll tie a knot. I might be, oh no! Oh, I'm sorry, wait, what? Do you think maybe you've just got like norovirus or something? Because the norovirus levels in general are super high right now. And norovirus tends to last a little bit longer and take a little longer to recover from. Do you think maybe it's just that? Because I think we've had the highest levels in like Wales at least for like a very long time. I'm not a human fountain. Okay, yeah, no, to be fair, it's a pretty telltale sign. Yeah, you know, norovirus does kind of turn you into a human fountain. Not always on both ends, but at least on one end. Oh dear. Enemy! Hello, welcome on in. I hope you're doing good. We've been talking a little bit about older films today. And like older animation and stuff like that. Meanwhile, I ran out of sequins, so I'm kind of just going up and doing the embroidery on the sequins that are done. But like, look at little black star. It's so cute. I actually kind of almost prefer this to the other side, to be honest. Look, I don't know, it looks pretty snazzy. It's pretty snazzy. Oh. Oh. I'm always a human fountain. 'Tis the IBS life. Hell yeah. Oh dear. Oh. Oh. The smokies, thank you! It's so much work and it like takes so long, but every time like a piece like looks finished, I'm like, you know what, worth it. It might have taken me 25 hours of my life and I'll never get back, but you know what, worth it. It's so I will say it's very relaxing work though. So even if it does take a really long time, I still think it's worth it just based on the relaxation factor. Back to that, no, you're fine. Have a lovely lurk. You're all good. Thank you so much for popping by. If you guys haven't checked out Shifty before, they do also stream on their own channel. They have a couple of my VTubers. I think 4. I think they have 4 of my VTubers. So if you ever want to see any of those models, they have like some of the models I made right at the beginning, and then they have some of the more modern models as well. So yeah. Very talented streamer as well. They do very fun streams. They do a mixture of like art, gaming, and chatting. So if you enjoy the stuff we do here, you honestly probably enjoy the stuff they do there. They just stream much later than I do. So if you're looking for someone later at night, heck yeah. On that thought, head to the restroom? Heck yeah. Yeah. There we go. Ooh. And zoom across there. I am loving these little black stars in the middle of the shiny sequins. They are so cute. Heck yeah. Oh dear. Oh. Make sure the sequins are staying. I think the sequins will pop out from underneath the bows, to be honest, here and there. But like, look, you can kind of just see them on the inside, like the little stars on the end. Like, that's so cool. Oh, it's probably just me like squeeing over it because I've not seen this on this color fabric yet. I've only seen it on the lighter color. So seeing all this is also my first time seeing it because I did all of my tests on the light lilac. Just because it was a bit easier to like draw grids on a lighter color. But I love it. I love it so much. I'm so happy it looks good. I probably should have done a test of the darker color as well. I didn't. I'm usually heading to sleep already. Sleep at that time. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I know a lot of people won't have the time zone for it. But if you can check out Shifty, they're a fun bean. Very fun bean. Style looks stunning. Thank you. It's pretty. I love it. I love it. I can't wait having to go through the build book with someone with this though, because it's like there's so I did smocking, but then I did sequining in the smocking, but then I did embroidery in the sequin in the smocking. Oh my god. Layers. But I like it. This is more aesthetic, this is. There we go. Sequins and sparkle and iridescent and over the top, what do you call it? Design. Yeah, that's what I like. I think it would look cool on stage though, because it should be that like all of these sequins will hit the light. So hopefully it looks good on stage. Even though they're a bit behind. Maybe not so much because they're kind of behind the rest of smocking. I don't know. It'd be cool if they glowed. It'd make the stars more obvious as well, because if everything around them is glowing, like they will stand out for having like not glowing at all. Yee. I still can't find my tester piece. I did do like a lot of good tests. I should really need to find those because I don't really want to do them again. I did lots of tests of like different shapes on the inside of these. I do think I showed you back in December when I was doing my practices, but like, yeah, I did lots of tests on the inside of the sequins to see, like, you know, which shapes I like the most, which ones were kind of fitting the theme, but I also enjoyed and weren't too hard. I tried like roses on the inside. I did like more boxy geometry-ish shapes. I did a couple different types of stars as well. I did some with like slightly thicker bases. I did do quite a few tests, but like obviously that wasn't in my actual fabric. That was in like white, I think, or ivory, something like that. And this just ended up being the one I liked the best, that I felt fit the theme, and also didn't take too long, because there were some other really cool ones, but like each piece of embroidery took so long that I was like, on such a small scale, it's not really worth it. I'd rather spend that time at a bigger part of the costume, like the legs. There we go. Another little star. Another little star. Key. Okay, tie this one off. Okay. Still a lot quicker than the sequining, to be fair. Oh. And then the sequining's a lot quicker than the smocking. The smocking really is a lot. Apparently you get sewing machines that can sew a diamond stitch. I'm not sure if they make the pattern big enough though. No, and also like it's not a very good idea if you can avoid sewing through like hard objects. So I have like little ceramic beads and like obviously the plastic of the sequins. I just have a hope. It's a good sewing machine. I really like my sewing machine, but I don't want to damage it. Like I don't have an industrial machine or anything like that. So even though it's a good machine, I think I'd feel a bit nervous sewing on a machine so close to beads. Also, Andrew, maybe you don't realize, this is actually a challenge cosplay in that I won't use a sewing machine for the entire costume. Everything's going to be hand stitched top to bottom. The reason I'm doing that, first of all, it's a fun challenge for me. But secondly, because when I did Mateus, we focused a lot on trying to keep it cheap. But one thing that consistently came up, which is true, it is true, is I have machinery. I don't have to buy any of this machinery because, you know, I already have it. So it was like, yeah, it's cool that you can make the costume so cheaply, but you have a benefit there of like having like a good sewing machine and stuff. So I decided that for this particular costume, I would not use a sewing machine at all. And that way I've kept it cheap and I haven't used a sewing machine, which means it's going to be hand stitched from top to bottom. And because as much as we talk about piss and shit and stuff like that and silly topics, I do really want to inspire people to give cosplay a go. And cosplay is one of those skills that can feel like it has a really high initial cost, especially when you see big cosplayers using like 100 pieces of machinery that they personally own and stuff like that. It can feel like you need a lot of money to do cosplay, but like I firmly disagree. I don't think you need money to win competitions. I think there are benefits to having access to different pieces of machinery, which can help, but like, should it be a necessity? Nah. I think there's something to say about just putting a lot of hard work and effort into every single piece of fabric in the costume, and a lot of that is hand stitching. A lot of that is hand skills. Like all of this is done by hand, and this is it's smocking. Well, I guess you could say general stitch work, smocking, beadwork, sequining, and embroidery, and eventually we'll also have gold work over the top of it. So that's 6 skills in one piece of fabric. Now, I could just take it to a sewing machine and do some decorative stitches, and that would be 1 skill. Do you see? I'm adding like a lot of, you know, from a competition standpoint, I'm adding a lot of different skills by doing it by hand. So it's not lacking in any way comparatively to someone who does use a sewing machine. If anything, the options and the stuff that I can do, smocking is something that you can really only do by hand. Beading as well. There are different ways you can bead. You can do tambour beading, you can do just regular beading, you can do more embroidered beading and stuff. There are different ways you can do beading, but it's all by hand. I think also because I come from a background of like, I used to turn my nose up at hand stitching. I used to think people would use hand stitching if they couldn't do a sewing machine. And I've come a long way since those beliefs. There's also been quite a while. But like, there was always a part of me that was like kinda negative towards hand stitching, thinking it was like the easy skill, because it was something I'd done since I was really young, right? So I kind of looked down on people that used hand stitching, and so I kind of wanted to, my younger self was stupid kind of cosplay, that this is a really useful skill to have. You know, you just need a pack of needles and some thread and you can go and do it. Like, this is all you, like, this is the thread that I've been using. It is like a bulk buying thread. From all of the smocking, I use this because it's cheap. And then for any stitches that appear on top, I try to match a slightly better color. And then, yeah, embroidery thread, you can buy it like at Poundland. These needles are probably from Poundland, you know? Oh dear. That's what amazed me. The technical, scientific, and knowledge of a lot of cosplayers have to make tails that move and ears that wiggle. And you guys might, yeah, cosplays are great. I mean, I'm very biased. Obviously, I'm incredibly biased. But like, cosplay is a wonderful skill for helping you stretch your wings into different skills, because most cosplayers, you know, maybe start with one skill, which is maybe like drawing, or maybe it's like sewing, or maybe it's like woodwork, or, you know, sculpting. You know, maybe they have like one skill that they could use in their cosplay, and then you kind of just add them up over time and specialize a little bit, maybe find some new stuff that you enjoy. It's very much like it's a very fluid hobby in that you'll do like a lot of different things, and you'll find different things you like and, you know, specialize in those. I don't do like a whole lot of armor work because it's not something that I enjoy as much, but I do a lot of hand stitching because I like that. Yeah. So yeah, I think for me at least, with competition cosplays or big cosplays that take a long time, I always like to have more than the goal of just entering a competition, because at the end of the day, you can get really disappointed if your only goal is to win, because, you know, cosplayers are fantastic and there's a lot of very talented cosplayers out there. So if you're entering competitions and your only goal is I will win, you know, I feel like you could be, or at least for me, I could be leading myself to disappointment. So I always try and have like a couple goals with my costumes. One would, yes, be to enter a competition and do well, of course. But I also would like to push myself as a hand stitcher and do more techniques that rely heavily on hand stitching. I also want to prove a point that you do not need money, once again, to enter big cosplay competitions. It's just not necessary. And anyone who tells you that is probably salty that they didn't win. Just saying. A lot of the times I've seen people been like, somebody else won because they had more money than me, and then when you put the costumes next to each other, it's like, no, they didn't. They didn't win because they had more money than you. Like, even me as like a backseat judge can say that's not why they won. They won because 99% of the time, they won because they displayed more skills. Money can help you display more skills, but it's important to remember that there are a lot of very valuable skills that don't rely on the machinery at all. And a lot of people, when they get those machinery, will just forget that those skills exist. If you're going on the cheaper end and trying to do a lot of stuff with your hands, you actually might have the edge in, like, as long as you sell yourself well, being able to actually show more skills. Because if you have, say you have a, what do you call it? What are they called? Overlockers, or sergers if you're in America. Say you have an overlocker on serger. So that overlocker on serger will trim the fabric, it will hem the fabric, it does all the stitches for you. All right, great, that's a piece of machinery, and that's one skill because you can use an overlocker. Now say you do it by hand, that you edge the fabric yourself, that you trim the fabric yourself, that you do all the folds, you iron your folds, you redo the fold, you do that yourself. Does it take a lot longer? Yes, but do you have a lot more skills that you've used in that? Yeah. You have a lot more to sell yourself with. Someone could say, I serged the edge. You can be like, I did this, then I ironed it, then I did this, and then I put this here, and then I did this. Done. And it sounds like you've done a lot more, even though the end result is the same both ways, because you've used a lot more skills. You know, you definitely don't need it. It can help, and it can make a lot of things more accessible, but it's not necessary at all. I think one thing that I've seen over and over again, especially from cosplay judges, is that people are just really bad at selling themselves when it comes to judging, and I am the same. I get very, very nervous in judging, and you know you know, not being able to sell, like being able to sell yourself to a competition is also important. Like being able to highlight the skills that you're proud of and really show them off and go into detail about why they're so cool. That's important. That's an important skill to have. It has nothing to do with sewing or armor work or anything. It just has to be, you know, a spoken skill. And it is important. Also, George, good morning. I hope you're doing well. Welcome on in. My goal with cosplay is to always challenge myself and make the best thing you can. Yeah, like I'm always working on my most impressive cosplay. Unless I am gonna... I did mention this at the beginning of stream. Some of you might have seen a relatively suspicious looking conversation. Don't worry about it. I want to do like a sort of more casual costume alongside this, which can be done a bit quicker just because this costume's going to take so long. And so I've decided I'm going to make myself Hootie. I'm going to become Hootie. I'm going to find a dog agility tube, and I'm going to cover it in fur, and I'm gonna become Hootie. I've decided. It's gonna be a very silly costume, but there's also like no pressure with it. So it's like, you know what? And I have like literally, we have so much building site stuffing at the house. I can have Hootie literally coming out of the floor because we have holes in the floor. It's like, what better time than to become a sentient owl tube than when we have like a house with literal holes in it. It's a good time. Ah, dear. Look at skills in your hands, you sell yourself well. What did I walk into? Chris, welcome on in. Just talking about cosplay competitions and stuff. Sell yourself for money. Hand stitches suck. Thanks for... Oh no. Oh no. Hootie, the most... Yes, a cursed blessed costume. Yes. You're gonna become Pootie. No, I'm gonna become Hootie. Hootie is a character in the Owl House. If you haven't seen... Yeah, Hootie like Hootie. They're a character in the Owl House. They are basically a tube of owl. Like, you've seen Long Furby? Well, get ready for Long Owl. It's just Long Owl. Very cursed. But, like, it's a simple costume which I can just have fun with, and I'd like to make that alongside this. So, yes. A hoodie costume. Have you not seen... Slothy, welcome on in, but have you not seen Long Furby? Oh my god. Long Furby. Kelly, do you know someone in the stream is possessed by an owl? I know what you want me to say, and I'll play along. Who is possessed by an owl? Long Furby. No, Long Furby.
Judge Jelly is doing well.
Aw, thank you, George. I hope you're doing well. I'm alright. It ran out of sequins, but I have more in the post, so it'll be okay. We'll survive. We can survive a day without sequins, I think. Other than that, it's alright. I don't think so. Listen, I won't put it on screen because I know some people be upset. The other thing was Baked Bean Furby, I think, was quite cursed. I know Long Furby and Baked Bean Furby. There it is, Baked Bean Furby. If you've not seen Baked Bean Furby, it's something. It is something. It is very, I think it's like a silicone thing, so it's like squishy as well. Baked Bean Furby, and then there's Long Furby. I actually think Baked Bean Furby is more cursed than Long Furby. I think Long Furby is like much more tame. Yeah, Long Furby's alright. I don't mind Long Furby, but Baked Bean Furby is something else. Oh dear, you're a good sport, Jelly Owl! Yeah! Oh dear, only Google Long Furby before I do sleep. I don't think it's that bad. You hate it? Oh, this is Cicada, good morning. The person who Baked Bean Furby has express ticket to hell. Yeah, I think the Baked Bean one I find like a little bit disturbing, but the long one I don't mind. Imagine it makes cursed Furby monstrosities. Really? Hell yeah. I respect that. I respect that. As a fellow appreciator of curses, hell yeah. Cursed Furby has gone to a whole new level since a better stream. Never Again Land. I love Never Again Land. Hell yeah, and then Nigel stuff is fantastic as well. Very good, very good. Oh dear. Yeah, we've been lucky to raid into them a few times because I always know they're going to be doing something more cursed than I am, so it's like, whatever you saw here, get ready! 10 out of 10, it's always a fun time. And Lourdes, good morning. How is the sewing going? It's actually going really well. So I'm like holding stuff down just when I'm going through some of these sequins because my needle's a bit thick, but it's going good. So we did the smocking and then we've gone through, we've added sequins and beads and all that. I also painted the inside of the bows so they glow a little bit. And then we've got sequins in the side and we're just putting stars between the sequins. And I won't be able to finish it because I have run out of sequins and the top bit isn't done. But then we'll have two strips. We'll have our pale strip and our darker strip. Heck yeah. I'm really happy. Yeah, Chubby, Skin Rolls, Neil, Thornberry, Furby, it follows me in my nightmares. Hell yeah. Very cool. Oh dear, looks great. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm having a really good time making it. It's very relaxing work, It doesn't take too much brain power. You kind of just sit on autopilot and like chat about stuff. Can't remember, do you have a Discord or something where I can person yeah, we have a Discord. ! Discord gets you the link to the Discord. You can probably just pop it in live stream chat since we're currently talking about it. Yeah. Yeah, there it is. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm going... The reason we're talking about roast beef Furby... Oh, God. You know, I haven't actually seen that one. Oh dear. Yeah, the reason we've been talking about long Furby is because I want to make a Hootie costume. If you've never watched The Owl House, Hootie is like a long owl. I think they're a worm. They're like a owl worm. And so they're just very, very long and kind of cursed. And I want to be that. And because we have like holes in the house right now, it's perfect because I can have Hootie coming out of one of those holes. So I'm like, you know what? The timing is good. I want like something silly to make alongside this. This is a good option. I will become Hootie. That's why. But then I didn't really mention that, and I just asked in the Discord, like, does anyone know if a human can fit in an animal tube? And people were like, don't go in an animal tube, Jelly. And it's like, no, it's for good reason because I just want a frame for my Hootie. You know, I want a good Hootie frame. That was good. There was a good reason for it. Hank Green loves cursed Furbies. I wouldn't say that I love them. I don't mind the long one though. The long ones kind of look cute, but I don't dislike them either. I'm very middle of the ground on Furbies, to be honest. Oh dear. Also, I can't do any hand stitching so much anymore. My fingers just I see. I just fixed my wife's going guard this morning using hand stitch, and I'm like, oh no. Heck. Yeah, that's when your body gives up on your hobbies. It's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. I'm assuming there will be other things you can do. You might be someone who does need more, I guess, mechanical assistance. But it's sad. Alex Hirsch's finest work. Oh, that's a word for it, for sure. Love scaring the crap out of people with the fast overlocker. There you go. Heck yeah. Nice. Cursed Furbies have been posted. Oh, 2 seconds. I need to get that out of there. I don't know if you can see the physical exertion I have to do every time I put this needle through them. It's because the needle's bigger than the sequin, so it makes the hole like a little bit bigger every time. Let's have a look-see. Let's have a look-see at this. I'll answer that after stream. Oh my god! Yeah, see the long one though, the one with the worm, I like that. I think that's fine. Long Furby doesn't upset me that much. Like that one doesn't really get, I don't know, I just think it's, if anything, it feels like that's what Furbies were like meant to be. Like, I feel like Furbies were meant to be long, you know? I don't know, maybe that's just me. But like, do you ever just feel like you look at a long Furby and you're like, yeah, that's good, that's meant to be. Oh my god, what is this? What? Sorry. Sorry. And now that I'm on Discord, I'm like, so much stuff happening. Oh my god. Okay. I think it's fine. I think it's fine, right? I think it's fine. I can deal with that later. Heck yeah. Oh dear. So ignore. For now. Oh dear. My last one was 6 meter head on it. Nice. Good compression gloves. Heck. Also, what about centipedes? Again, it doesn't bother me. And then again, I'm not scared of centipedes, so like, maybe that's why. Because obviously people have like certain insect phobias. But like, yeah, it doesn't bother me. Furbies were meant to hold. There was the thing with Furbies, which I don't know if people remember, is that they were so invasive because they never turn off. So they're constantly in the background of your room going, yeah, and it's like, please stop making noises. Like the real problem that I think I had with Furbies was like I had to like just take the batteries out of them most of the time because they were so loud and always going around and making noises. Oh, I was trying to make 12 heavy. Oh my god. Yeah, it would be heavy. Dem doesn't like this emote here, so it look like it does. I mean, I can see it. It could also be a piggy, but I can see what Dem means. I don't think you've never had a Furby. See, I had them when I was little. Did my music give up on me? I was of the age group where like a lot of kids had Furbies, so I had one growing up. Come back to us, music. There we go. So yeah, I had one growing up, and it's mainly just annoying, really. Got rid of mine as I felt like a Furby party. Yeah, this is the problem. It's like it's not that they were scary, they were just really annoying. Like, really, really annoying. And that's like the real horror of Furbies is that they never turn off. And so at any point during your day, it could just start yelling. And they were very annoying. The noises they made were very annoying. So like, that's the real reason I'd never have a Furby in my house again. It's like nothing to do with being scared of them. It's 100% to do with the fact that they are very annoying creatures. My friends' Furbies are really, they're really loud and they're very invasive. That's the real reason to never get a Furby. We took the batteries out of mine as a kid. Yeah, I also took the batteries out of mine. I think most people must have taken the batteries out of theirs because I don't know how you live with a Furby otherwise. Oh, one night I was half asleep, moving around bed. It was like pitch black and it was, I see you. Yeah. Oh, I never had one. I did have a Lala doll plush thing from Teletubbies that would speak when it was touched. One night I was sitting next to Mum with Lala, the voice box was gone. Oh, I also had a Lala plush. Oh dear. Yeah, like, I guess the thing with Furbies though is like they can just not talk for a while and then suddenly they start talking and you're like, why? Why now? When I'm trying to sleep, do you start talking? And then all day when I'm like talking to you, you don't say shit. Excuse me. 10-year-old me was scared. Fair. Honestly, fair. I think 10-year-old me was just pissed off and annoyed and like, shut up, I want to sleep. Oh dear, I've always been a light sleeper. Stuff like that gets me. I'm not scared of you. I'm just annoyed. Oh dear, there we go. Me and a bunch of my siblings forever got lost and oh, what a shame. What a shame. Oh no. It got lost? Ah. Damn. Oh well. You sleep in the dark is the last thing you want to hear. What would be the last thing I'd want to hear before going to bed? I see you would definitely be up there. Thinking about it now, I'm like, oh, what would I really hate to hear right before I fell asleep? I'm hungry? Well, yes, but I feel like if you live with other people, that is also just something that happens sometimes. Like, I know in university, I'd always hear my housemates moving around like at 3 a.m. making brownies or something. So like, I think if you lived alone, that would be a very scary one. But then if you live with other people, ring, 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 banana fell. An ancient meme, very good, thank you. Oh dear. Yeah. Brownies, yeah, did you never get up in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m. and make box brownies? I was like, I think because a lot of us did like late nights relatively often and a lot of coursework. It was like pretty often. Mistress, good morning. I hope you're doing well. We're discussing at the moment what's like the worst thing you can hear right before you fall asleep. What's like the scariest thing to you that you could hear right before you're falling asleep? And someone said I'm hungry. And like, I think if you live alone, I'm hungry would be a very scary one. But like, because I've lived with housemates and stuff, it just feels like pretty common that they're getting up in the middle of the night and like they're hungry. I would have just assumed it was one of them, I suppose. Brownies or brownies? Regular brownies. We are poor. I was a poor student. There's no way we had anything special in our brownies. We are but poor students who live on pasta and box brownies. I've been up at 3 a.m. because of brownies. I'm not sure we're talking about the same thing though. Probably not. We're just hungry. Innocent and hungry, you know? Oh dear. How did I get tonight? Italy woke me up again. A noise from downstairs. Yeah, downstairs noises. One thing that my door does here that's like made me jump a couple times. So my door handle's a little bit sticky. So sometimes when you close the door, it stays stuck down. And so what you'll hear like 10 minutes after like turning the lights off and rolling into bed is the door go. And it'll go like crick. And it'll be like, it's basically the door moving. And it sounds like someone's opened the door, but there's no one there. But it's actually just the door opening itself because it's a bit sticky. That's made me jump a couple times. I know what it is, but it does make you jump. I had that yesterday night, instantly woke me up again. I was having a brass and fried bacon at 1 a.m. If I had been your housemate and you'd fried, I would... How dare you make something so delicious smelling so early in the morning when I shouldn't be eating? Oi, oi. That's too tasty for 1 in the morning. Oh dear. And it smells tasty. Then again, if that, I probably would have been up at like 1 in the morning with you if you'd been frying bacon. I would have been over the shoulder like slobbering like meat. Food. Consume. When you live alone in here, I'm hungry from under your bed or like right outside the door. Yeah, like I think that's it as well. Like if it's just out of sight, that can really scare you. Oh god, you don't like that one, huh? I'm trying to think. What would I don't know, like what would get me? I don't know. Make a toasted cheese. Oh man, I want a toasted cheese sandwich right now. The scariest thing. I'm cooking delicious smelling food in your kitchen and you can't have any of it. No! That'd probably be the worst. It'd be scary if it was the voice of a child. Do you think? Yeah, I guess I could see that. Especially if you have children, I suppose maybe no. Boob. Thank you for the boob. Vamber, we're talking about scary things to hear before you fall asleep. Okiana is sewing some costumes. I've got an order for a costume. Oh, for a costumed wedding in June. Someone might need an undershirt and a pair of pants. In August, I probably have to make myself a new. Oh, heck yeah! Oh, sounds like you've got like a bit of a plan. Heck yeah! It sounds good though. Having children is ways. Yeah, the real fear is offspring. the fear was amongst us all along. Oh dear. You know the Doctor Who episode where the people are going around going, "Are you my mummy?" Honestly, that would probably still scare me as I'm falling asleep. First of all, because I'm not ready for responsibility like that, but also because the Doctor Who episode always scared me. I think one of the scariest things, in my opinion, would be somebody coming into the room and accusing me of parenthood. Terrifying. Yeah, that's it. That's the scariest one by far. I don't think I could fall asleep after that. My god. What really scares me before I fall asleep is responsibility. Oh my god, no, that terrified me. The empty children, yes. Play a gypsy witch. Oh, okay. Having ideas for the costume. I went AFK and came back to Doctor Who. Yeah, we're talking about things that would be like the most scary to hear right before you fall asleep. Yeah, no, not scared of the child voice anymore. Since my wee one came along, I'm just used to that now. She's literally stood next to me with a fake syringe, said she was gonna drink my blood. Oh my god. Yeah, kids can do some accidentally terrifying things. The empty children got me. Also, thank you for the hydrate, Lourdes. Yeah, that one scared me the most, I think, out of any Doctor Who. D ranking in Apex, huh? You know, all of your friends are like platinum, but you're not there yet. Is that scary? Would that scare you? If all of your friends got platinum and then you couldn't play with them anymore because they were all in like a higher group. Actually, that does sound like a legitimate nightmare that I'd have. Like, everyone like getting better than you are and then being left behind. That's the real fear. That's too real. Go back to like children accusing me of parenthood, please. Oh my god. Right, I'm gonna tie it off there because my thread's getting a little short and a bit annoying to work with. I could probably technically go further, but that's okay. I'm just a lonely bronze. No. Oh, you know what? You're probably better than me, Rambo. I don't know if that makes you feel better because I don't really play FPS games. But you know what? I said probably, but you're almost definitely better than me. There you go. Everyone is better. Oh, you're right. Everyone is better than me. Oh dear. Talking about old medicine syringe with Ribena in it, I started by saying, "I drank your blood, mummy." Oh no. I know I think every child at some point does something that's accidentally very frightening. I know what I did that like my parents talk about to this day of being like genuinely unsettling. I was, bear in mind, 5 years old. I was not very old and I didn't have a concept of what I was doing. But in school we were told to like draw something that I don't remember exactly what the prompt was or what my parents said the prompt was, but it was basically draw something that's impacted you or draw something that's important in your life or like, you know, something that's changed who you are, so something influential to you. And a lot of people draw their parents and stuff like that. this was a large event had recently happened when I turned 5, and I drew the Twin Towers being blown up as a 5-year-old. And I took that home to my parents. And my parents have never let me forget it. They were like, you came home from school with probably the most terrifying picture I've ever seen. And to be fair, it was a very influential thing. Like, they said, something that's influential. At the time, everyone was talking about it. It was a huge event. Like, something had happened that was really bad. And like, most of my family is American, so like, obviously it was like, it was very much talked about within our family. And 5-year-old me did not understand what it was. I was a baby. But I understood that it was important. And so I drew it in class and then took it home to show my parents, and they never let me live it down. Like, oh my god, Jelly, that's too scary. First thought was a car. I mean, my first thought was, 9/11, so as a 5-year-old, no, actually I would have been 6, I think. I would have been 6 years old, so I would have been just going into primary school. And yeah, I did that. And I was really proud of my drawing. I thought I did a really good job. And my parents didn't really have the heart to say at the time, like, how scary that was. Having, like, a 6-year-old, I would have been, coming home and showing them a picture like that. But I do remember they kept it for a while, specifically so that they could tell me about it when I was a bit older and be like, you will never give us... you will not believe how scared you made us that one time. Oh, dear. When I shared a room with my sister as a kid, I could not go to bed before because I was terrified she'd start. Oh, Lourdes, that's too cute. Are we the same age? Well, you maybe, but I can't. I have to be a bit careful because we're not actually meant to say ages in this chat. I guess technically you could work it out from that, but we're not meant to say ages, but it kind of needed to for the story. I didn't want it to come across that I was like a 20-year-old drawing that at school or anything. Like, I was very young. I genuinely didn't understand, I didn't understand at all, what I was drawing. And I just knew it was an impactful thing. Oh, dear. But yeah, I think the school mentioned it to my parents as well. They were like, just so you know, she's done something in school today. She means no harm, I don't think, but it is quite intense. You might want to talk to her about it. But I think, I think at some point every kid does something kind of scary or uncomfortable or draws something that's like eerie or weird, but 99% of the time I don't think the kid realizes. I definitely didn't. And it's only now as an adult where my parents have been like, yeah, you made us really scared one time. I was like, oh. Then he was a kid at 20 years old, I put some violent tragedy. Well, yeah, it was in crayon. But the thing is, I don't want to make light of 9/11. That's not my intention here. It was a horrible tragedy, and it was very scary. We were very, very afraid as a family. We had a lot of family that lived in the area, and we were like, oh my god, it was a very scary event, which is why our family talked about it so much, because we were scared. I very specifically drew the image they were showing on British television, which was of somebody falling out of the towers. Just to be clear, that's why it was a hell of a picture. But that's because that's what I saw on the news. People were that image was everywhere of the towers burning and someone falling out. That image was everywhere. And so that's what I drew. And yeah, the school contacted my parents and was like, you might want to, she means no harm. You might want to explain, this is maybe not the best thing to draw in toddler group, Oh dear. But yeah, kids be like that. It's because it comes from kids not understanding what they're saying always or fully grasping it. And so it gets twisted and weird and uncomfortable. Especially because I'm pretty sure my parents had to put it on the fridge because I was proud of my artwork. And it's how you can't really explain that to a 6-year-old that the artwork makes you feel uncomfortable, because I was just proud. Apparently I was just really proud of the art that I'd done and been like, ha, I did good artwork, I drew what I saw on the news, yep. And so my parents had to have it on the fridge for a few weeks, because otherwise I would have been upset and cried and stuff, because I want my art on the fridge. Oh dear. Much the bond with the teacher and children, yeah. I used to sleepwalk and talk. I roll out of bed. My parents would come running after him. Aww. You gotta be careful. Obviously, like, head injuries, no joke, but especially with kids. Oh, I bet they were worried. Oh, trying to break the names. Yeah, wait, what did I write? Unpredictable. Welcome on in. A childhood story of something I did when I was really young. I guess the brief rundown is we were told in school to draw something influential, and I drew the 9/11 attacks. I was only about 6 years old, I should say, and I didn't understand what I was drawing, but because we were told, I think, to draw something that had impacted us or like in a way, or like influenced us. So like most kids drew like their family, but because this had literally just happened, and my family's all American, so like we were talking about it, like people were scared, like people were very afraid in my family. That's what I drew, and I specifically drew the image that they were showing on the news in the UK, and yeah, we're basically talking about things that kids do that kind of scare their parents. That's probably the one that I did. I don't think I did anything else particularly weird or uncomfortable, but like that one, my parents have made sure that I don't forget it, because it was apparently very, very scary. Oh dear. I was 20 and in New York State when it happened. I painted it. What was happening as it played on the news that morning. Oh God. Yeah, I was, you know, crayons. I was like 6. I'm pretty sure I was 6. That the chart, actually, I don't know if I would have been 5 or 6. I was very young. I would have just been starting primary school, so I was a baby. Some people just process through art. I don't think that's what it was in my case. I was so young, it's very unlikely that I actually understood what had happened. I just knew that it was important, you know? I was so young that there's like no way that I probably could have grasped what was happening and why everyone was so nervous and like worried about it, and like why that had such a big impact. All I know was that it was impactful. And so when I was told to draw something impactful, that's what I drew. Yeah. I don't think I at all grasped. I wasn't like I don't want to give myself the credit of being like I was processing something. I was very young. 5 years old, I was fishing, killing, and cooking fish. Went fishing and hunting when I grew up on a farm, so raising and eating animals. That's fair. A lot of people near us growing up did that. Because we lived in like a pretty rural area, like there was a lot of kids that would do farming growing up. I know my sister shot and she shot pheasants to eat, and then we'd take them home. We took them home, but she did that with Scouts. We talked about this actually on stream before, because I remember people being like, what? Scouts is like an organization in the UK. I think they're in other countries as well, where like kids do activities after school. And one of my siblings was in Scouts, and yeah, they shot pheasants and took them home and we ate them. That's something that we like, but again, we live very rurally. You probably wouldn't get that if you lived in a city growing up, like in the UK. Like that's unusual, but like they were teaching people about where their food came from and stuff was a big thing. We had that in our schools as well when we raised pigs and then ate them. Like it was important because we grew up around farms, that the kids understood like that these animals were made for eating. And this is what happens, and we still look after the animals, we still make sure they're happy, but like, yeah, it's a farm thing. Yeah, like everyone was grown up to know, like, you know, this is what happens to animals. You know, it's just I guess a cultural thing that could be a bit different in the countryside versus in cities maybe, and from country to country as well. But yeah, it was very normal for us. Guys remember the important things, even if yeah, exactly. They remember important things even if they don't get why. One thing that I remember, I would have been, it's like one of my earliest memories. I think I would have been about 4 years old. And I remember very vividly, like my mum coming into the room and being like, you know, to my dad and stuff, and being like, you know, just so you know, like this friend of ours has miscarried. And that's my memory. I didn't know the friend, I didn't know anything about it, but I knew that it was important because you could tell by my mum's tone of voice, you could tell by my dad's reaction that it was a sad thing had happened. And yeah, it's like my earliest memory is that, and it's like it's nothing to do with me, it's nothing to do with my family. I have no idea who the person was. I don't even remember their name. I just remember that so and so had that happen, and that it was a really sad event, and like that my parents were sad for them, and that they were probably very sad, and like, yeah, I did not know the significance of what that word meant. I didn't understand what it was at all, but I knew that it was sad, and so I remembered it, even though I was only about 4 years old when that happened. And like, I remember my parents saying like, what do you think your oldest memory was? I was like, it's that. And like, it's easily that. I don't have super lots of memories from when I was really young. I don't think most people do, but like, there are a few instances where you're like, yeah, that stuck with me, because I remember it being really sad. Oh dear. Even though I had no idea what it was. What is that? Speaking of what is that thread? I'm gonna have to tie that over here, I think. That's in the way. Oh dear. Remember the ham joint was delicious? You know more about animals than humans. Until I was older. Yeah, I didn't grow up on a farm myself, but there was like a lot of people that did. So like, we all got the same education. We all lived in the same villages. Yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of like important to know if you're surrounded by these animals that will end up being eaten. Like, you know, just let people, yeah, it's like an important thing. When I was super young and I got into an accident, I think it's like those kind of like sad memories, not always sad, but like sad or like intense memories that often, like for your youngest ones, seem to be the case. But I guess, like Unpredictable said, like, kids don't necessarily understand why something's important or why something's scary or sad, but like, they remember that it is. Isn't that how like a lot of kids pick up like phobias and stuff? Because if your parents are really, really afraid of something, aren't you more likely to be afraid of it, even if you've not had a bad experience yourself? Like, if your parents are really, really afraid of spiders, aren't you meant to be more likely to be afraid of spiders? Because even if you've never had a bad experience with a spider, or you've never even seen a spider, you know, that's something that you're meant to inherit, or like inherited fears. I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Like, something like my family, I don't think that I've inherited, but then I don't really have a lot of phobias. Maybe that helps. My parents would be sad, etc. And the only time I saw that emotion from them, yeah, it's like it leaves an emotional thing of like, this is a sad event, even if you don't understand it. Oh dear, I hate I don't think anyone enjoys funerals. You know, I understand that they are a celebration of life and they are important and everything, and it can be lovely to hear stories of your loved ones, but I don't think anyone enjoys funerals. It's not that kind of event. Oh dear, the reason why my friend is scared of the internet is because, yeah, same. That's very true. That's the same for me. I was terrified of the internet. I am a lot better than I am now. A lot better than I am now. But like, yeah, growing up, I was terrified of the internet. That's why I never went on websites that my parents hadn't like explicitly been like, these are okay. Because I always felt like if I went on the wrong website, like my computer would just break, or like someone would like come to our house and tell us like you know, they'd steal all my money, or like, you know, my pocket money, they'd steal my pocket money. I don't remember my parents telling me those exact things or anything. I think a lot of it was probably just like, I was afraid, so I was like pushing it forward in my head. But like, I remember being terrified. And the schools as well, though. When I was growing up, schools were also like, the internet's a scary place to be. And so like, you want to be really, really careful because there's all these dodgy things, and like, you know, you gotta be careful who you're talking to. It might not be who you think you're talking to. And like, honestly, not bad advice, all things considered, but it did make me very, 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 very afraid of the internet. I remember like, oh, that was the other thing as well. It's like a lot of little things that kind of added up to me just being really afraid of it. So I remember my parents telling me not to go onto the internet on my phone because it would take all of my money. Like, it would cost me a lot of money. And so I was like, if I go onto the internet, it steals my money. Okay, I won't go onto the internet then, because I don't want to have my money stolen. And so again, it's like one of those things that's like relatively harmless, but it twists it in your brain to like, from, you know, it costs money to use the internet, so don't use it, to the internet steals my money. Oh dear. Especially with like child brains. And so like, yeah, I was terrified of the internet for years. It's why I didn't really have any social media until I was like a bit older. And even then I only had it with my very tight friend circle. Like, I only got Twitter for the first time because of streaming. I only got Instagram a few years ago because my mum wanted to see my cosplays. And so I really just got Instagram for my mum. And then, yeah, any other social media, like other than Instagram, I have got it because of streaming. And like that's literally the only reason I've got them. Like, I would never have used them otherwise. Like, I would never have used TikTok. I would never really have used anything if I hadn't started streaming, because I've always kind of just been a bit nervous about social media. But I've said this before as well, like, there has been positives to that, like, you know, me being afraid of the internet means there isn't, like, archives of me saying, like, cringy teenager stuff, where, like, I'm talking about, like, my favorite crush or whatever online. I was spared, like, the cringy teenager years where you look back and you're just like, ugh. So, you know, I think everyone has it, but some people have it more publicly than others, and I was very lucky that mine was very not public. I'm really glad I didn't know about Tumblr as well, because I feel like I would have been fully like, I was very big into shipping. I would have been so into Tumblr if I'd have known Tumblr was a thing when I was younger. And I was also not scared. That's fair. Oh dear, I have sworn to never go to a funeral again. I'm willing to change my mind for yours. Oh, that's sweet. Oh dear. But yeah, it's I don't know, like inherited fears and stuff like that. It's interesting for sure. I think the only thing I can think of actually, now that you've said it, is the internet. And I don't think like my parents were afraid of the internet. I think they were just cautious, and that like translated to me as being afraid of it. I don't think that they themselves were actually afraid of it. I think that was just me. Really into shipping, then you're like UPS. You're right, I love UPS. Googly eyes for the win, heck yeah. Oh dear. There we go. Ooh. Oh dear. Yeah, I was very into shipping back in the day. I love the idea of it, but but obviously like there are some what do you call it? I think those kind of like posts people make about their ships back in the day are like some of the cringiest stuff. And obviously it's good. I don't think cringe is necessarily bad, like necessarily bad at all, but like I'm kind of glad that I don't have to look back at my social media past and cringe, I'll be honest, because I don't have a social media past. I started it as like an adult, which, whew, wipe sweat off brow. I am glad about. When they make a comment like the person loves. Aww, that's cool. So do you really into mail or ships? I used to be very into airplanes. I don't know, ships were, weirdly, I used to do sailing, but I was always more into airplanes. Like, what are they called? The airfix and stuff like that, where you make like the models of the airplanes. I used to be very into that. Like I remember getting them for Christmas and making them, because they're kind of expensive kits as well. But yeah, I remember for Christmas sometimes I would get like a new airfix kit and I'd make a new airplane. The only bit I didn't like was the stickers. When they were like, you need to put stickers on these airplanes, I hated that. The stickers are so tiny. I'm not here for those teeny tiny airplane stickers. They kind of like Wattpad, so yeah, I skipped the Wattpad. Wait. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. Are you being sarcastic about my airplane experiences? I really did like airplanes. Oh dear. What, me? Hell no. Okay. Oh, okay, I'm glad. I was like, oh my god, I really like those airplanes, you know? Like, unsarcastically, I really enjoyed them. I used to get them for Christmas. I thought, oh no, like, but me and my sisters loved them. We used to, like, every year we'd make them together. So, like, because again, we only really got them at Christmas because we both get them at the same time, sort of thing. So, like, at Christmas, we'd, like, sit on the table making our airfix planes. I used to love it. You build tanks? See, I always considered Gunpla, but I remember how long they used to take, and I'm like, I don't know if I have the time for another hobby where it takes like that long, because like this stuff takes so long. But I really enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't like was the stickers, and I stand by that. Those teeny tiny stickers for those airplanes were cruel. I think you were like meant to put them on with tweezers, but like even as a child, my hands were too shaky for that stuff. I don't know how people do it. Like, that stuff was really hard. But other than that, I really enjoyed them. If I'm glad! Yeah, I really like them. I used to love airfix. But like, again, specifically, I really like the airplanes. Like, we just really like the planes. I probably would have enjoyed the boats and the tanks, but like, I think my parents saw that I was enjoying the planes, and so like my sisters were also enjoying the planes. So like, those were the ones that we'd get. Yeah, because like, you know, they could have taken a risk and gotten us boats, but what if we didn't like it? What then? So, yeah. You know, planes was safe. They knew we liked those. I got distracted looking at a list of stuff that happened this year. The same year I was the same age as you. Draw your picture. Oh, really? Heck yeah. I want to get into Gunpla, but there's not shops that sell it. There's a couple places online that I can get it from, I know. Obviously, it's quite expensive, but then so is Airfix. Like, any kind of model making, I think it's a little bit expensive. You understand that? Yeah, we seem to have had a similar childhood. We're taught about animals and their use in food, and also we made models. Did you also do the dinosaur with the little pick and the goggles where you'd get given a rock and there'd be dinosaur bones inside it, like little fake ones, and you'd like pick at your dinosaur bone block, and you'd get all the bone pieces out, and then you'd make a dinosaur out of them? Oh dear, I used to love that. I used to sit in the kitchen for days. Like, pick. I was the only one that did that, though. Siblings were not so interested in the dinosaur stuff. That was mainly just me. Oh dear, no goggles and mud smashing. See, I really enjoyed the process of putting on my goggles, putting on my apron, getting my little pick and going tick, 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 for like hours at a time. I really enjoyed it. And then afterwards I'd come out of the kitchen like, oof, hard day of work, parents. I have been doing this for hours. Gosh, I could use a cup of tea, my lord. It would be like little 5-year-old Jelly like, whew, hard day of work in the kitchen there, guys. I used to really enjoy it. But I think my parents also used to really enjoy giving those to me, because first of all, I would really do it for hours at a time. But also, like, I think they just liked watching me, like, get ready to do, like, the picking in the kitchen. Oh, dear. Yeah, I treated it like a job. I really enjoyed it. You can dissolve it? Oh, that's a shame. Heck. I remember putting together... Oh, yeah! Heck. Wait, see, that must have been really hard, Unpredictable. Oh my god. I love those! You got the ones with rocks as well. There were a couple different types. There was ones that kind of felt almost like chalk, and they were very brittle rocks, but they weren't, in my mind, so fun to hit. And then there were the gravel ones. The gravel ones were my favorite. So like they used like a gluish cement to keep all the gravel together, and you'd be like picking off bits of the gravel. It was great. It was very satisfying. And sometimes you'd get like a really big chunk and it'd be like, oh, big chunk. Heck yeah. How are you, Unpredictable? Doing your best? I hope your week goes well. I hope it is a good week for you. Oh dear. I've been seeing the tiny embroidery you've been doing in the Discord. It's very impressive. Oh dear. Operation Deathstorm Dissolution Soviet Union. Oh my god. It was a wild year, I guess. It would have been small for choice of what to draw from the news events. Yeah, that was one thing. My parents used to have the news on like every morning, so we'd watch the news before we go to school, and I think after that they waited until we were a bit older to put the news on again. We were like, she's being influenced. We'll wait a bit. Wait till she's a little older at least. Especially because I'm the oldest. I have even younger siblings than me. So like, what if they did it? Oh god. I'm hoping to finish a second hearing this week. Ooh. Very exciting. I honestly, I love the idea of doing it, but it's also like, I don't know. I feel like, you know when you're working with really small things, so you're accidentally gonna like yeet it into the corner of your room because it's so small? That's my fear. That's my fear with working with small stuff like that, is that I'm accidentally going to like just yeet it and then it'll be gone. I'll have thrown it. It's goodbye. I enjoyed having you earring, but you are now gone in the corner of the room. There we go. This is, by the way, the last one that I can do today, which is in good timing because I did say I needed to end before 1 o'clock today. So it looks like we're gonna finish pretty much on time. Yeah, sorry, I apologize. I have a couple of things happening outside of stream that I just need to make some time for at the moment, to make sure that I'm present and available. Yeah, and my family's all too polite as well. So like, if anything does happen and they'll see that I'm streaming, they're like, what do we do? What do we do? Do we message her? Should we tell her? Or should we wait? Oh no, it's like, I want to be present. I don't need it much, but the multiple stabs to the needle things. Oh. Ooh. Yeah, you know what? I know that pain. I need dollhouse stuff. Yeeting is a thing. Oh god. It helps if you put the fabric on top. That's true, actually. Yeah, that's a very good point. If you have it on a larger hoop first, it might be easier to keep hold of. The thing is, if I start to drop, I'm sure I'm not the only person here. If I start to drop something, my immediate body reflex is to smack it. And like, this is how, like, I'll like drop something and then I'll kick it. So like, it looks like in the kitchen, say like I drop a mug, it looks like I've just drop kicked it. It's not on purpose, but like, my immediate response is if I go to drop something is to like hit it. And That's so like if I'm working with smaller things, they do tend to just get like punted across the room. If I like go to drop it, I'm just like, book, there it goes. The gluing it down for the final display hoop is a really, oh yeah, you probably, yeah, very sticky fingers. I get that even with working with bigger things, to be fair. Oh dear, yeah, I bet that's very fiddly, especially if it's all sticking to you and stuff. All right, I am going to tie that one off there, and then I can kind of show you the work that I've done today. Because I'll be honest, I'm pretty proud of it. I'm pretty proud. I know we couldn't finish it because I've run out of sequins, but listen, we can. It means I can probably finish it in the next couple of days, because like whenever the sequins come in the post, there's not very much left to do. It's very, very quick comparatively to like the rest of it. Shouldn't be too much work left. Okay, get that nice and tight. That in there. Trim off the extra. And we'll flip it over. Bam! Look at that. So they got the little diamonds in the center of the sequins. They actually show up really nicely. I was worried because it is quite a dark purple that the black might not show up too well, but because the sequins glow so nicely, I really like this one. I would say the embroidery thread is like quite obvious, and I was a bit worried that they wouldn't go well together because the white does kind of stand out amongst the sequins, but I think the black does as well. It's just a little different, isn't it? It's like a little bit different. Oh dear, but I like it. I still feel like they feel like a pair. It's good, thank you. I really love it. I think it's really, really cool. It takes a really long time. But yeah, as you can see, we've run out of sequins so that the last 5 little ones at the top don't have anything in them. But like in the grand scheme of things, we have done most of it. I can probably just finish that quickly off stream so that we can move on to the next one next stream. We have 2 more of this one to make and 2 more of this one to make. So we do have a few big ones left to make. That's like, what, a couple of 100 hours work? God damn. Oh dear, because if these are like 25 hours each, it's 150 hours just for the big ones. Yay! Just a few more. There's 9 in total on each color, but like they do get like dramatically smaller. So like the smallest ones are like, you can see like a lot smaller. So yeah, like we have like 2 of this and 1 bigger size, and these are the biggest. So yeah, I got a bit more to do, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I'll move across and do like a white one. No, it's not white. It's a light purple one again next time, because yeah, then we can just switch up, and it just feels like there's more progress, I think, when you're switching the colors. In the meantime, though, stick around. I'm gonna find a really lovely bean to raid you all into today. I know there's a few people live. I can see quite a few people. So we have, once again, options. Lots of options. That's okay, though. Oh dear. Oh, this is always the case. There's so many people I would like to go see, but it'd be nice if you could raid into multiple people, but then I also don't think that myself would be able to keep up with that, probably. How about how about we raid into Blapple? Blapple's doing some cosplay. We can continue the cosplay vibe. And they're using a sewing machine on a Blapple stream? What the heck? What the heck is this? Blapple using oh my god. Surprise, surprise. But Blapple's a very, very talented cosplayer. They work in like a range of stuff. They do armor work, but they also do leather work. They're very good at leather. They do painting, they do sculpture. So yes, well now we have to go there, yeah. Like what the heck? Also, just in case you get left behind on the raid, this is where we're going. This is where we're going, just because I know raids have been a bit funky recently. Thank you, Jods. No, thank you everybody for popping by. I'm sorry that it's been a couple of shorter streams recently. It's just because of stuff outside of streaming. Hopefully once stuff calms down a bit, we can go back to slightly longer ones again. Party at Blapples, yeah, party at Blapples. In the meantime though, I should be back tomorrow. I would like to do a little bit more of this and then maybe finish the week with some rigging. We will see. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Take care. Thank you so much for popping by, and I'm gonna send you all over to Blapple. Let's go! Go! Go over! Hopefully.